here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello everyone, welcome to Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. My name's Bart Hansen. We're back, Dave and I, for the first time in the last few weeks.
I missed you, man.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Tonight we are going to be continuing to do for our first full night of subscription only, subscriber to the archives. After the first half an hour of the show will go to, will only be able to be seen by archive subscribers.
No more fucking freeloaders.
Jeez, Dave. Anyways, so we'll do this for a half an hour, and let's get into the game. We're going to be doing a 5-5, 300 min, 500 max, no limit hold'em game.
I am in rare form tonight, I got to tell you. It's going to be one of those, who can I offend tonight, really? Give me a race. Give me a person. Who am I going to offend? Look at this. There's friggin' Mickey Mouse. Yeah, whatever. Okay, well, there's Scott in seat number 1. Scott's been on the show a couple times. He was on the show a couple times last week. Seat number 2, we've got Alan. Alan's about as boring to watch as you can get. He really is boring. I mean, whatever. We'll see if we can replace him. Apologize for that right away. Seat number 3, we've got Mark. Mark pretending he works in a hospital yet again. Seat number 4, we've got Action Mo. And in this game, he will be action. Guaranteed. No doubt. Seat number 5, we've got Scott. Now, Scott is interesting. Scott is actually, he manages a Ford dealership out of Hollywood. And the interesting story about him right now is, you're not going to believe this guy. He is in the middle of a divorce. He is giving up his $1.5 million home. Plus, he's got to pay his wife $7,000 a month. This guy is moving to Skid Row.
And he told you all this?
He told me all this right for the show. He has to move to Skid Row. He is going to be homeless because of what he's giving his wife, well, soon-to-be ex-wife. But he said it's all, it's all friendly. Seat number 6, we got Kevin. Kevin sporting the green shirt. He's got a lot of chips in front of him. This is a 3-to-5 game. He's got over $1,000, probably $1,200 there. Seat number 7, we got Chris. Chris is a real solid player. I've played with him numerous times, played with him in tournaments. He plays cash games. He plays tournaments. I really like his style. See how he plays tonight. Seat number 8, we've got Roger. Roger that. And, I don't know anything about Roger, so we'll just move on to Jennifer. And Jennifer, she is a freak. She's just an absolute freak. And
see how many times she can get pocket jacks like she did last week. And flop 3 sets with him, and get into sticky situations in all 3 times.
Really?
Yeah.
In this game, it's normally you flop a set in this game. I don't know how you get away from it. Yeah. Normally you're not deep enough. So let's see the count. Let's see how many people I can offend in one evening.
Button moves over here to seat 9.
Hey, that's what I'm here for, Ray, okay? I was listening to the show while I was in Vegas. Way, way too tame. Like to push the envelope.
Going to start this one with a raise here by Scott R. out of seat 5. King Jack offsuit.
That's our Skid Row Scott.
5-way action. It's a $100 pot. Seat 5 is the pre-flop raiser. 8, 9, 10 here with a couple of hearts. And Mo is going to move all in from up front with King 10. Very connected board. He actually has the best hand here.
Well, he's going to put some pressure on Scott. Can Scott call this? I mean, there's 2 hearts out there. He does have the king of hearts.
He's open-ended here.
But can you? I mean, the strength of that hand is really being the mover, not the caller, right? I don't think anybody can call this.
Mo is going to be action tonight in this game.
Yeah, wow. And Mark can't call it bottom pair on a gut shot. He throws it away, and Mo steals himself a pot. He did have the best hand there.
So I hope everybody enjoyed the show last night with Liz Lou. Barry Woods looks like he's on the 2+2 thread. Again, if you want to follow a live thread started on the internet, you can go to 2plus2.com. Spelled out, click on Forums Televised Poker Official Live at the Bike thread for July 13th. You can also email us at liveatthebike.com. We are back up with the email. I read all the emails from yesterday. We're going to be doing the video blog tomorrow, so that will be up, I think, tomorrow night on the website. Barry Woods, man, really lucky against Liz Lou. I think he thought he had the best hand with Ace King of Hearts. That's the sad part of that hand.
I got a beef with Barry Woods, and I'll get to that in a second. Oh, check out that rabbit cam over there. Yeah. That's kind of cool. I discussed we kind of have a new table here live at the Bike. Equipped for Omaha, if you can see, like on the sides of his windows, there's some felt over there, but it's equipped for 4 cards to be shown. That's awesome.
Linked around here, looks like we got 6 or 7-way action.
Well, King 8-8 and Trip 8's there for Scott.
How about a full house? How about a full house here for Scott in seat 1? He checked it. The turn's a 4.
Now, you always say you don't like to slow play it. I guess that's the one case where, okay, maybe you can. Who knows? Get somebody to buy something.
Mo's going to bet 40 here. Just a call here from Scott. And the river is an 8. Scott's made 4 8s. And you wonder now, I don't think there's any value for Mo to try to bluff because you're not going to get a guy off of a king here.
No, exactly.
Or probably any pair.
And Scott's going to put a little value bet in there. Mo throws it away instantaneously.
Yeah.
Now, you wonder if a 7 had come off there. Does Mo get involved with making the straight, backdoor straight there?
I think he does.
Yeah.
You know, Mo, this might be the type of table where you do slow play because Mo is on the table and he's probably going to just come out and bet.
Yeah, you know what, though, in that one case there, I don't mind. You can make the argument, well, if somebody has it, the only way you're going to get action is if somebody has an 8. Well, if somebody has an 8, you're going to find out pretty quickly anyway. And since you're not that deep, you can start building that pot probably on a turn anyway.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. Now, Barry Woods, he posted something on 2+2. I was sitting there a couple of nights ago, a few nights ago, and I go over to the high limit section, okay? And I answered a couple of questions, strategy questions, and Barry Woods had posted a question. Surprise, surprise, Barry Woods went to Felt when he was at the Win, okay? And he posted a question about what happened in the hand. So I sent him a PM, with what my analysis was. Do I get a PM back? Thanks, Dave, for your time. Anything? No, not even an acknowledgement. You know what? Go to hell, Barry. We're over. Our friendship, we're done.
Got a raise here by Mark on the button with pocket 9s.
That's right.
Wow, and Scott is going to call a big raise here out of position with ace-jack offsuit. Looks like the raise was to about 50. And we're going to see a call here with pocket 6s, an overcall here by seat 7 with 9-10 of diamonds. And seat 1 is also going to call here with ace-deuce of hearts. So we've got 5-way action. It's a $250 pot pre-flop. And Mark is the pre-flop raiser with 9s, and 9s are still good here.
Yeah, that's a terrible flop for 9s, though. When you're talking about a raised pot 5 ways, how do you know you're good there?
And he did not bet. Checked around, turns a 3.
Can you blame him? Now, he's on a button, but, I mean...
But is anybody going to take the initiative to bet? Because no one else has anything either.
Well, if it checks to me again, maybe you bet here. But look at this. Kevin's going to take a shot at it with 6s. Why not?
He's going to bet 50 into a $250 pot. Well, I can't imagine that Mark is not going to at least call here.
Well, that's the problem. You don't want to just call this. If this guy bets 50, which is a super weak bet, and this guy only calls the $50 bet, I'm coming over the top for 300. I'm going to take it down right now.
Well, look at Scott. I mean, Scott's thinking about calling here with ace-deuce.
Well, that's the whole point. Well, this is actually Chris. He's got 9-10.
Well, no, but Scott's got the ace-deuce. He's thinking about calling, but he folds there in seat 1.
Now, I don't mind. Now, to me, this kind of screams like this guy's got a queen. He's kind of betting it soft. He looks almost scared to bet. But he's going to throw it away. And
but Scott R is going to call with a gut shot to the 10. Wow.
His ace is good, his jack is good, and his 10 is good.
Is he going to fire at it if he misses? Well, the river is a jack, and he backs into the best hand.
Well, that's not the card. That's not the one he was looking for, though. And he's going to check it and hope Kevin doesn't have the guts to go for it again.
Well, Kevin, I think he thinks he needs to bet here, and there it is. It's going to work.
Wow.
That's 100 there at the end.
Talk about, see, that's the one thing you realize when you're playing in a smaller game as opposed to the bigger game. The big difference is, oftentimes a little $50 bet like that can work because the other players at the table don't recognize what the $50 bet is. Now, if you were in that game, if I'm in that game, if Mo is in that hand, they all recognize what the $50 bet on the turn is. More often than not, it's a scared bet. It's I'm trying to steal this kind of bet. I don't really like my hand. Well, if somebody's going to give that to me, I'm going to try to take it from them. I really am. Pocket aces for Scott and pocket kings for Mark. That's right.
Uh-oh.
We're going to see fireworks here.
Now, Mark is over there in the cutoff.
Scott's going to raise it up.
Scott's going to raise it here up front.
He's not playing a tricky 45 right away. And what do you do if you're Scott here? Do you smooth call or do you make a raise right away?
Well, Scott has raised it here. It's over to Mark with the king.
Right, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. And he's going to raise right away.
Yeah, and he's short stacked. There's no way he's going to get away from it.
No, I don't think so.
He re-raises it up to 125.
Now, at this point, though, let me ask you this. He's still got about 260 behind. Do you smooth call it and see what happens to the flop? Or, kind of slow playing your aces? Or do you re-raise them all in right away, hoping he's got kings exactly and he can't get away from it?
Well, I guess maybe you're figuring that, maybe he would get away from queens.
He might get away, exactly. He might get away from
jacks.
queens. He might even get away from ace, king, or jack, something like that. Kings, obviously. If you know he's got kings, it's an easy move in. And of course, Mark's going to call.
Yeah, this pot's going to be about $600 here. Aces against kings. Aces, of course, about a 4-1 favorite here.
And check this out. How about we call the ambulance for Mark? Get it? Get it? Yeah.
Oh, Mark gets running diamonds. Oh, there's one diamond.
He can also catch an 8 or a 3 to chop it up.
Yep. Then we go to the river, and it's a deuce, but aces are going to take it down there.
And Mark's off to the ATM machine.
Usually the king comes. Knock on wood. That happens to me all the time. I'm the ace, and the king hits on the flop. Small blinds.
Again, you can email us at live@thebike.com.
So how did
questions, comments, suggestions?
How did the night with Liz go?
Well,
I mean, forget about. Just you and Liz. Is there a future there for you guys?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're gonna hook back up at Tryst. Hopefully, she gives me an invite to her
cool.
poker party.
You're gonna hook your brother up now?
Oh, listen. I don't know. If you're married, I don't know if I necessarily want to waste the invitation if she gives me 2 invitations.
It might be over by then. Well, actually, I'm the one you want to invite. I'm not competition for you. I'm exactly the one you want to invite. You invite Ray. Ray is going to be all over your stuff. Okay. You invite Isaac. He's going to be all over it. Me? I'm going to be sitting there puddling my pud.
Queen 10 deuce here with a couple clubs. Kevin's got a flush draw here. He's going to lead out from seat 6. Scott calls with ace 10. And is Kevin going to continue to fire here? He does. He's going to throw a little kind of a stoppish bet out here, a $20 bet. Gets a quick call here from Scott. And the river is a queen, and Scott is good here with ace 10.
And is Kevin going to fire again? He fired last time, but this time he's out of position. And look at Scott bet. Scott thinks he needs to bet, or is
no,
he
I think
value?
Scott is value betting here. I mean, you've got a guy that's bet.
And maybe get called by a 6?
Well, how about a 10 with less of a kicker?
There you go.
I mean, with ace 10 there, and the guy checks to me on the river.
I agree.
Maybe he's checking to induce a bluff from a club draw, and he has a queen, and he's planning on check calling.
In this game, more often than not, you're right.
Not.
It's probably a weak 10,
yeah,
or maybe even a 6. I mean, can you believe it, though? I actually take the time to analyze Barry Wood's hand, and then I send him a private message, and I get nothing back. I get nothing.
30.
What are you going to do?
Mo made it $30 with 4-3 of diamonds. And Scott has re-raised it to $60 with King Queen offsuit. Man, I tell you. Well, I mean, if you're going to play that hand, you can always play it as a re-raise.
And he doesn't come in at 11, so I know he doesn't need already.
And we're going to see this 3 ways, $180 pot. Not a bad flop from Mo at all. Mo has flopped a open-ended straight draw with the flush draw. Mo is pushing all his money in here, and Scott's got top pair. We're going to see fireworks here for sure. I guarantee it. Yeah, and Mo bets 175, and Scott immediately calls, and we're going to see this is pretty much a race now. It's 53. Once Kevin's cards are eliminated, if Ronnie can get him off there, we'll see it.
Turns a 9 here. Here we go to the river. Mo needs help, and he does not get it.
Oh,
Scott's going to win it there with the king-queen.
Now, on the flop, Mo was actually a 57-43 favorite.
Open-ended straight draw with the flush draw.
Oh, he has so many outs there. A 7, a deuce, or a diamond, and Scott is drawing dead.
And again, though, I mean, it's funny. Mo wants to, kind of bully this table around, but you got to realize that when people are on the short stack and they have top pair, there isn't a whole lot of fold equity to make huge semi-moves.
No, of course not. I got to tell you, with a hand that strong, 3-4 diamonds, I don't want to fold. I want somebody to call me there.
Well, you actually do want to fold from king-queen. You'd rather take down the pot there with 100% of a win than try to go in that much more at a 57% win. I mean, we've discussed that before in strategy.
No, of course. Obviously, we always talk about, obviously you want no opponents, but I don't mind the call in that case. I'll put it that way.
Right.
If somebody's going to take the worst of it, and I'm going to win that pot like 3 out of 5 times, I don't mind that.
That's so clean.
Limped around here to the button. He's got ace-9 offsuit. That is Chris. And Chris is going to make kind of a little pot sweetener. He's going to make it 15 more to go.
You know one guy I really miss? I mean, we haven't gotten an email from him in months. I don't know where the hell he's been. That guy, Mike Antolini. Where the hell's he been?
Oh, look at that. There's an email from him right now.
Oh, amazing. I woke up last night wondering, where is Mike?
Calling a call, and we're going to see 5-way action here. It's a $75 pot. Queen Jack 3 here with a couple of spades. Well, Mark is open-ended here. He's bottom end of an open-ended straight draw. And he's going to bet, well, no. He's actually giving Scott $100. That's not a bet. So let's see. And it looks like, Mark checked it.
And Kevin is actually going to check it in late position with the flush draw.
Yeah, dry flush
amazing
draw.
not take a shot there.
Chris checks as well. The turn's a jack.
Nobody has anything.
Yeah,
yet.
ace-high is still good.
Man, I got to tell you, if I'm in late position with 4-6 of spades, why aren't I betting there? I bet that. I take it down, right?
Well, now he's going to bet 20. And it looks like Chris isn't going anywhere. Yeah, he's going to raise. He doesn't buy it. This guy might have checked a jack, though, and might have hit trip jacks.
Well, Chris's instincts last time, when Kevin made that weak $50 bet into a $250 pot, his instincts there were to raise it. But he went against his instincts. He said, you know what, a lot of players behind me, I'm going to throw this one away. Well, this time he listened to himself, and he takes down the pot. Nice bet by Chris.
Again, we're playing 5-5 blinds, 300 min, 500 max. No limit hold'em.
So how's your week been?
It's been a pretty good week. I mean, yesterday was kind of hectic. There was a lot of things going on. Of course, we drew the guest commentator contest from last night.
Right. And who won that?
Button moves over here to C8.
That's what I'm here for, man. I am here to make your life hell. Anybody wondering, Bart is sitting there waving his hand at me. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. Don't ask me.
I don't have the name in front of me.
Oh, man. You miss me. Admit it. The second you admit it, I'll leave you alone, man. I tell you. Come on, man. Come on.
Don't touch me in the back.
Come on.
Don't touch me in the back. Limped around, 6-way action.
It's going to be a memorable night tonight, I can tell. Jack 8-4 rainbow. Anybody have anything? Nobody's got a jack. I think Scott's got the best hand with 8 deuce.
Yeah, it looks that way. It gets checked around. The turn is a 5.
Still no real help here. Scott's still in the lead, huh? With the 8 deuce.
And he's going to bet 40.
Yeah, why not? I always say you need a really good hand to call, but you don't need much to bet. And Scott's going to take it down. You want to ask me about my week?
How was your week?
My week was fabulous.
You didn't get to actually play in a tournament, though, right?
I decided not to. You know, it was funny. My blog is updated. My blog is not updated, but I recently wrote a blog, and it will be updated later today, probably. But I went to Vegas with my wife, and I decided not to play any of the tournaments. Originally, I'd gone down there. My wife was going to play in the ladies' event, and I was going to play the $1,000 multi-rebuy one and then the $2,000 pot limit on Tuesday. But I decided not to, because I was like, you know what? The tournaments take so long. Although the way I've been playing, actually, they take really short. But I was hoping it would take a long time. And I kind of wanted to spend a little time with my wife. So instead, I played a few satellites, and I played a lot of cash games. And it was a phenomenal 4-day trip for me.
Really?
Yeah, it really was. I'll get to it a little later.
3-way action here. Looks like it was limped around. 6-4-5 here.
Scott's got the best hand here.
Yeah.
Kevin not taking advantage of his position here.
Turn is an 8. And now Scott is going to... Actually, Alan is going to...
Yeah, Alan's in there with Jack 6.
Okay, yeah, Alan's in there with Jack 6. We don't have it up there. He's got the best hand.
I like my hand.
And it looks like he's going to take it down.
Yeah, more often than not. Well,
showed the jack.
I hand it to Ronnie. More often than not, the one hand we need up there, Ronnie doesn't get up there.
Now, Jay Siegel just told me he tried to PM me on 2+2 and said that my subscription, or my PM box is full. Well, I just deleted it. I was wondering why people hadn't PM'd me from last night, but there you go. Free to PM me now, Bart Hansen.
And if you want to PM me, I'm Friar Tuck over on 2+2.
Bud moves over here to seat 1. Limped around here to Jennifer. She's got Queen Jack of clubs. She's in the cutoff. She's just going to limp in. See kind of a cheap flop there from late position. We're going to see 5-way action here. And we've got actually 6-way action, and it's a pretty good flop here for Jennifer. She's got overcards and a club draw. Looks like we got King 10 over there for seat 6. Alan is actually going to lead out with 10-5. Just a call here by Kevin. $20 bet and a call. Now Jennifer's going to overcall. I got to tell you, sometimes I've been a fan of kind of min-raising in Kevin's spot there on that flop.
Oh, definitely.
But he just makes the call. And the turn's a club.
And what a club it is.
Yeah, Jennifer's got the flush. She's got an open-ended straight flush draw. No one has a higher club. She has got the goods right now.
Yeah, nobody can beat her. But Kevin is going to bet right into it. He doesn't want to let another club come off.
Now, is she thinking about raising here? Yeah, she's going to raise it up. She's going to make it 175 to go.
Now, if Jennifer's raising you, I mean, she's got minimum here. Minimum here, probably 2 pair, probably the flush, though, right?
Yeah, I don't think she even raises with 2 pair. She makes it 100 more. Now, you know, the funny thing is that it's not necessarily all that bad of a kind of a value raise. She might have made it a little bit too much, but if Kevin had ace 10 with the ace of clubs, I think he would call if it was a little less.
He might even with the king 10 with the king of clubs.
Yeah.
You never know. But in this case, he's only got top pair, not much to hang his hat on. He throws it away. Anyway, so it was kind of cool. I went over to, my wife wanted to check out the World Series and see all the, you know, hubbub was about. So I went over there, and I played a $325 satellite. Actually played really well. I was happy. I got down to 3 people. We did a 1-chip save. Now, for a $325 satellite, it's actually one of the best values there at the Rio. You get 6 $500 chips, plus $120 in cash.
Yep.
So there's only $130 in VIG, which amounts to $13 a person. Which for $325, that's not bad at all. Anyway, we did a save, a 1-chip save, and then we played for the remaining 3 chips and $120 in cash, and I won that. So I ended up winning 4 chips and $120. I only put $325 in, so I kind of gave me a little bit more of my confidence back. Did well in the cash games over at the Bellagio. Although I got to tell you, I still don't think the cash games there are that good.
And did you play in the 10-20 game?
The 10-20 game, yeah. And I still don't think it's that good. It wasn't bad, but it's nothing to go. You know, it's nothing to drive to Vegas for. I'll put it that way.
Mo's going to raise this up here. He's going to make it 30 more with Queen 10 of hearts out of the blind. And Allen is called here in position with ace 7 of hearts, so hearts come.
Mo's raising, isn't it?
Well,
oh, he's bet
Mo's
blind.
actually going to bet 100 blind. He raised. Well, 9-4 deuce here. Well, Kevin's got Jack 9. Is he going to get involved? He calls.
I mean, Kevin didn't realize that Mo was betting blind, kind of trying to represent like
Yeah.
pocket kings or aces. He's okay. I'll call.
Here we go to the turn. Turns a 7.
Oh, it's getting uglier and uglier for Mo here.
Mo checks, and now Kevin's going to bet 100, and Mo's out of there.
Yeah, it's tough to run these guys over. I really tell you. It's funny, as well as like Corporation Mike's style, that laggy, aggressive style, really does work in the bigger games where you can kind of have that fear of losing money. In this game, the fear doesn't really work when people are only $400 or $500 deep, or you're only $400 or $500 deep. We've seen numerous players try that style in this game, and it just doesn't work in this game. So, yeah, so I was playing, like I said, I played a 10-20 game at the Bellagio. The game had like 1 or 2 kind of fish, and then 4 or 5 pros, and then a couple of players that were kind of okay.
Yeah.
So, like it's similar to our 10-20 game. Or if you want to look, sometimes our Friday night game or last night's game, probably worse than our normal Friday night game or Wednesday game. So,
well, last night's game was unbelievable. I mean, Ed was in the game. We had Don in the game. I don't know if you remember him from a
wow, I do know
or two.
Don.
And then we had Alex, who used to work with the WPT. Now he's a kind of a freelance guy. He instructs for WPT boot camp. He's an instructor for the tournament session. And I think he and Liz, when they first came in here, thought the game was a tournament.
Wow,
I told
okay.
Liz it was a cash game, and then she's like, "Oh, I want to play." But Alex, even though it was a cash game, he just still played it like a tournament the
I
whole
mean,
time.
he didn't change his style at all.
No, not at all. I mean,
I'm only curious now. Now, you say he was instructing for the WPT boot camp. Does that give you some? I mean, is that a camp you would recommend? Now?
I don't know.
I
mean, I don't. You know, if he's a tournament specialist, you know, how sometimes people play tournaments do not necessarily play cash games all that well. We got a raise here by Scott with Ace Queen.
You'd think they'd want to adapt, though.
Roger made a little raise, and Scott has re-raised with Ace Queen offsuit here.
Now, the problem with sixes here, obviously, is you really got to be playing it for your set because you're out of position. It's not like the flop is going to come out 8-4 deuce and you're going to know where you're at. Scott can easily have queens, kings, aces, or any other overpair. You're playing it for a set or nothing, and I just don't think Roger is deep enough to make this call. He's only got $400. I think you really want to have about $700 or $800 to make this call, and he's going to throw it away. Good lay down. So anyway, so Vegas was actually really cool. You know, I played a lot of poker, but at the same time I was able to kind of lay out at the pool, enjoy myself, you know. Had some really nice dinners. Very cool with the lady. It was a good time. Good time had by all. And now I'm back. Better than ever. Mini series of poker going on tonight. $200 buy-in tournament starts at 7:15 p.m. It's not too late to buy your entry. Button moves over to seat number 4. Once again, the blinds in this game are 5 and 5. Limp, limp, limp. New player in seat number 3.
Wow, Mo's going to raise it up to 200 here with pocket fours on the button.
And
look at this, Mark's got aces.
Yep.
Oh, man.
What did you just call this?
Well, he's going to push. I mean, it's got to be obvious if Mark calls, he's got a big hand to Mo.
But why not? I got to tell you, though, against Mo there, why not call it, check to him, and then check raise all
Mo's
in?
going to call anyways.
No,
He's
is he
gonna call
really?
anyways for pocket fours.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
And Mo is about a 4-1 dog here.
Yeah, he was getting 3-1 with the call. He calls getting 4-1. Or getting 3-1, needing 4-1. He
So
makes
it's not
the call.
the proper call.
No.
But I don't think Mo's in this game to play proper poker.
No, I think he's just kind of donking it up, having a good
Yep.
time.
So we got 4s versus aces. Can bring those cards in maybe, or is Mo not going to show?
He's going to say he's going to buy 500 more. Well, here we go. Mark is in great shape, obviously. The pot is going to be $800. Mo needs some help. He needs a running straight or a 4.
No, there's a 4 and only a 4 now.
Nope.
Not going to happen.
Oh, it's nice to have somebody give away money at the table.
I know.
Actually, this afternoon was one of the better games, 5-10 games. Sometimes I was talking about how the game hadn't been all that good during the day.
Right, but it's getting a little...
This one, yeah, it was.
Well, you got the mini-series of poker going on. I really think the poker at the bike will be great through September because we've got our mini-series of poker through the end of July, and that leads right into the Legends of Poker starting in August. So the tournament players will be here. The action will be here at the bike. Crazy action going on.
Button moves over here to seat 5. And it looks like, was there a little raise here or was it a straddled pot?
Yeah, it was just a little bump-up raise. Mo wanting to see the flop. He raised it up to $10 with King 5 of diamonds. And he did not really hit it. Jack 10-5, couple of clubs out there. Nobody else has much of anything. Now, Randy's got the best hand with Ace 10. But does he really want to go to war with that?
Mo's going to bet 50 here.
He actually said 50.
50.
50.
Yeah. King 5.
Mo's keeping it real.
And Randy here in seat 3, he's got Ace 10. Is he going to get involved here?
Yeah, not a hand I want to be calling off my money with. I don't mind being a better with that hand, but I don't want to be calling with that.
Well, then again, you know, if you're up against Mo, you might just be betting with anything.
Right.
You might just be giving his money away. Turns a 4. I mean, against normal competition.
Right, of course.
I don't consider Mo normal competition.
Well, now
style.
Randy can't beat a jack. He can't beat
And look at
clubs.
this, now Mo bets 200.
Yeah, he's going to try to represent the clubs here.
Big over bet once again.
Well, he figures that's the best way to get this guy off of a hand. Maybe get him off a jack. And look at this. Randy is going to call. Randy can beat nothing, right?
Well, actually, I don't know. The funny thing, though, is that if Mo is really playing it up like this tonight, yeah, it makes sense that he might have made a flush. But if Randy's getting 3-1 on that, if he's getting about 2-1,
right?
Can Mo just have bet with nothing on the flop, took a card in the turn, then try to represent something on the river?
Definitely.
1 out of 3 times tonight.
Do you think Randy though is noticing that though?
I mean, we don't know. We've never seen Randy on the show.
But I'm saying is Randy familiar with Mo though? That's what I'm trying to get to.
Well, maybe he's just familiar with the way he's playing tonight. I can tell you, if I didn't know Mo and I sat down at the table and saw the way he was playing, I'm going to make that call too.
Okay, that's Now I noticed how Mo throwing the 50 there on the flop. Yeah. What do you think about Mo's street cred? Has he got any street cred? Ray, help me with this one. Yeah. There you go. Ray said he's a baller. He's what you call a baller. There you go.
Putt moves over here to seat number 6. And it's limped around here 4 ways. Queen 5-6 here, all rainbow.
Oh, best hand is in seat 8, isn't it? That would be Roger. Roger that?
Yep. He's going to bet 60 with the Queen 8, and that's probably going to get it done.
Yeah.
Does indeed.
So the $50,000 horse event is going on.
Yes.
Unfortunately, you are not there. What happened?
Unfortunately,
did
not.
You not try?
Look at that good rabbit cam, that newish rabbit cam. I did try. I tried to get in on full
You did? Okay, I wasn't sure.
They were only giving away 1 seat.
1 seat.
I didn't win. But of course, this weekend is a big weekend for internet poker coming up when Poker Stars is giving away
150 seats on Sunday, and Full Tilt gives away 100.
100 seats. Yeah, and I think the Full Tilt is a $500 event, and Poker Stars is $350.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
I might play both of them if I'm not still in the Omaha event.
I think they're both the same day. I mean, they're both the same time.
Yeah, pretty much. I think Full Tilt may be staggered a little bit. Starts maybe an hour or 2 after.
Okay, so one's at like 1:30 Pacific time, and one's like 3 o'clock or 2:30 Pacific time. And you're getting 250 seats to the main event. You'll probably still be in the Omaha tournament, I hope. And I'll probably be hopefully winning my seat into the main event.
Limped around here 3 ways. Queen 7-5 with a couple of clubs. Oh, excuse me. Mo had raised it up to 20 pre-flop.
Now, Rogers picked up a flush draw, and you figure Rogers at least going to call this. Mo has the best hand right now with ace high. And Rogers just throws away the flush draw.
Wow.
Look at that. King 8 of clubs. Now, Roger was in the blind, decided to call the $15 raise. I mean, it was a $20 raise, so $15 more to Roger. He flops a flush draw, and then just throws it away. I'm just not quite sure what you're looking to flop.
You know, one of the funnier things, I think it was on Tuesday, we always talk about your hearing problems. On Tuesday, I was doing the show by myself, so I decided to sit over where you normally do,
right,
and took your headset. And when the show came on, my God, I thought I would have almost gone deaf. Like the volume level in your earphones are like 3 times the volume level in my earphones.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that on purpose?
Yeah, you can't hear anything.
Well, the funny thing is, though, is when I did the show by myself, I used your headphones. Do you turn them up for mine when I did the show by myself? I didn't, though. Wow, maybe the hearing problem's just in my head.
Limped around here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way action. King, Queen, 7 with a couple of diamonds.
Not a real good flop for pocket 4s, huh?
Chris is going to come out and bet 50. Chris has bet 50 with Queen 5. Alan I think he got a free ride in the big line with the same hand. He's not going to get involved.
No.
Now, Alan had a kind of a bad day the last time we saw him on the show, I think on Tuesday. Yeah, word is from Mo, actually, a new announcement that starting hopefully next week, we're going to be doing the 5-10 game on Tuesdays.
Oh, fabulous. So we'll have our new schedule be kind of Tuesdays 5-10, Wednesdays 20-40, Fridays 10-20, and then Monday and Thursday kind of a smaller game like this.
Look at this familiar face.
Oh my!
And he's gonna take Mo's seat.
Oh,
there he is, the Jesus. Haven't seen him on in a while.
Are you kidding me? Wow. You know, normally you'd say, wow, Jesus is coming in the game, but can he really be any liver than Moed?
Not right now, no.
So I want to tell you, kind of a new section of Live at the Bike, and I've been trying to get this off the ground, and I'm going to really start doing it, is a book review section. And I actually read, not only did I get this book, I got the No Limit Hold'em Theory and Practice Lansky and Miller book, but I've read the entire thing, all 300 pages.
Really? Well, I'm sure a lot of people will be interested to see what you hear. We had a race pre-flop here. I want to say it was by Kevin with King Jack. And Kevin got called by Chris with a weak ace, and Chris hit the ace, and he's going to bet.
Bye, guys.
And Mo says goodbye.
Goodbye, Mo.
So Kevin, the pre-flop raiser, does not bet out. He's not going to chase the gut shot.
Is it just me, or could Bart have sounded any more patronizing? There.
What's that?
Well, I point out the book, and then you say, well, I'm sure everybody will be really interested in what you have to say.
No, that was actually genuine. I would tell you if it was patronizing.
Okay.
Believe me, I would be the first one to admit it, because obviously we always get all those emails in about the book and such. And so Mo is going to be taking on 3 days. You know, he's done it in the past. Hopefully this time it will work out.
Well, the 5-10 game has gotten to the point where we see
there's 2 games now.
Always.
Yeah.
And sometimes 3 or 4.
Yeah. It used to be only 1 that would start around 3.
Exactly.
Now it's like the 3 to 5 game. So.
Exactly. It's always there, so why not? Mo doesn't necessarily have to play in it to keep it going.
Yeah.
Plenty of interest in it. So.
Alan's going to raise it up here to 35 from the button. And Jesus is going to call here with a 9-6 of clubs.
Oh, he's got the big lick suited. And by the way, out of all the big lick suited hands, the club one is my favorite.
Really?
Yeah, it really is. It just looks pretty.
But more hidden value.
Yeah, exactly.
And look at this. Seat number 6 is in there with a weak ace.
Wow, nice flop for Jesus.
Well, he's got bottom pair and an open-ended straight draw. He checks it. Kevin has got middle pair with ace-7. He's going to come out and bet. Alan's probably not going to get involved. And is Jesus going to just call or check raise? That's the question.
Well, Jesus only has a couple $100 there, right?
He calls. A lot of cards that can help him. It's almost about 50-50.
Wow.
Well, Kevin makes aces up now.
Well, not 50-50 anymore. Jesus is going to need a 6, a 10, or a 5 to win this.
Yep. $100 bet here by Kevin.
And you can see now that he's a 4-1 dog to win this pot. And it really becomes a math problem, and he's going to call this.
Make the call. This pot is quickly $400 or $500. Here we go to the river. Oh, the river's got a 6, and he should really bet here.
Oh, definitely. You got to push it in there, and he's going to. He's going
to. Moves all in. And a call here by Kevin, because obviously Kevin does have 2 higher pair that's on the board. You know, he would beat something like ace-king or ace-queen here. Not that I'm saying that's what Jesus has. But his hand is pretty strong right now with ace-7.
He beats 8-7, obviously. All sorts of hands he beats.
Right. He makes the call, and a nice hand there for Jesus. He's going to double through right off the bat.
You know, it almost looks like a bluff in the sense, like, what did this guy have?
Yeah, I think I would have called there.
Against Jesus, I think so, too.
Which is more the reason why it's a great bet by Jesus. Sometimes we see somebody check the river there.
Oh.
Now, if he had checked the river, I still think Kevin might bet there with ace-7. It's a strong enough hand. I would bet if it got checked to me with ace-7 on the river there in this game.
You probably think you're good.
But oftentimes we see somebody check an ace-jack or, again, or an ace-8. How about an ace-8 there, if that made a little more sense? He might check ace-8 there at the end if it got checked to him, which would have been top pair. Oh, actually, that would have been aces up, too.
You mean ace-9? Top pair with an open-ended straight draw.
I'm just trying to manufacture a hand he would have bet out on the flop where he would have had.
Yeah, I know, definitely. I'm with you on that.
Like an ace-jack or something like that.
This is 4 ways, limped around. 6-4-3. Now, Alan is open-ended with a pair of 3s, but Alan's not in the hands. So, doesn't really make a difference what Alan is.
Well, Kevin is in there with deuce 3. He's got a middle pair and a gut shot, a worthless gut shot to the 5.
Scott actually betted here. Now, Scott's got jack 7. He's got really nothing. He's got a gut shot straight draw.
That's actually Mark. He's moved over there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything.
No, he's just got a gut shot straight draw.
Mark bet out and Kevin called.
It's an odd play there by Mark to bet it, but it's even odder for Kevin to call with bottom pair. I mean, what are you looking for, the 5 there, really?
Turns to 10, and now Mark shuts down. He checks. And now Kevin's going to bet.
Well, I mean, you assume he's making that call, hoping his opponent has a 5 or clubs, and maybe you can take it away on the turn. Obviously, you're not calling hoping you can hit your gut shot there, are you?
Well, he bets 40 here, and it doesn't look like Mark is going to get involved. So I got it here in my hand. Darryl Praver, the winner of the guest commentator.
Oh, really? Wow.
And he's been a archive subscriber since March of last year, 2005, long-term.
Good old Darryl. I mean, it's funny. We hear from him so often. going through those Praver emails.
Yes.
That, you know, it's good that he actually got paid off.
You actually got to read the whole, because I'm interested, and genuinely, you got to read the whole book.
I read the entire Sklansky and Miller book. Now, once again, this is No Limit Hold'em Theory and Practice by Sklansky and Miller. I read all 300 pages, and I think it's really good.
Really?
I mean, I think it's really, really good. Now, obviously, a lot of the stuff they say in this book is repetitive. If you're familiar with their theory of poker book, yes, it is obviously repetitive, but that's poker.
Right.
A lot of the same things do carry over.
But do they get into some more specific? Well, I'll get to this in a second. We get a raise here with seat 8 with pocket jacks. Now, Allen is called with ace 10 of spades. Can become a pretty hand when it's suited, but again, not that much value to it. He does call for a raise. Here we go to the flop. Well, I guess that's what you're really looking for to hit. He's hit overcards in the nut flush draw here. 8-6-4. And Roger's got the over pair. And Roger's going to bet 100. Now, these are the hands I love. For some reason, if I had called, I love to raise in a bigger stack game because if it really puts a guy to a test with jacks. He can pretty much only call, and you're going to inherently get a free card. In this game, I think the guy might just push in with jacks. You never know.
Yeah, obviously in this game it is a tougher spot.
And Allen just calls.
You might not have the fold equity. See, the reason I don't like the call here is if you hit the ace, okay, maybe you get paid.
Yeah.
But if you hit the ace, normally players will be scared of the ace. And if you hit a spade, they'll be scared. But look at this. Roger checks.
Roger checks, and Allen checks right behind him, and there's the flush card. And now Roger checks again.
And now it's time for Allen to bet.
I think Roger might have been afraid that Allen was sandbagging something. Allen bets 100 here, and jacks can't beat anything here on the river.
Scared of sandbagging what?
I don't know. You know, if Allen bets out there, say he flopped a straight, is Roger just going to fold with the jacks?
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, if you're scared the guy is sandbagging, I guess you're just ready to check and fold then, which is what he did on the river finally. I got to tell you, there's no way I can give a free card there, not with the spades out there.
And again, you know, the reason why I kind of like this game is it's almost more of a simpler game on a short stack. Don't you think?
Definitely.
Well,
it's like playing the 5-10 game. Let's say you play the 5-10 game, but you only buy in for $600 or $700.
Right.
It's a very simple game.
Right.
You know, that's one of the things they talk about in this No Limit Hold'em book, Theory and Practice. They talk about it. They're saying, if you really want to simplify No Limit Hold'em, like if you're talking about like tournament poker, late in the tournament where it's pretty much all pre-flop move in or call all ins, that's very simplistic poker.
Right.
You know? There's really no post-flop decisions, right?
Well, Jesus is going to raise it up here with pocket eights.
And obviously the shorter your stack, the less post-flop you'll be playing.
Makes it 25 to go. Mark calls with 7-10 of diamonds. Now, you know, Mark might be able to call here. He's deep enough. The only question is, you know, does Jesus sometimes bring in hands that aren't necessarily premium? And it goes check, check. And look at this. Now Jesus hits the set. Maybe they agreed to check it down. I think they did. But Mark is open-ended now. And the river here is a 4.
And Mark gets there.
He's got a straight. He made it.
And Mark does not bet?
No, they agreed to check it down. I mean, again, that's kind of funny, you know, maybe Jesus convinced Mark to check it down or vice versa, but if you're going to call someone, I mean, we're talking about playing poker with 10-7 of diamonds, you're calling for the chance to hit a big hand. Because I got to tell you, the way that played out, if Jesus checked the flop and Mark checked behind him, and Jesus hit a set on the turn and he bet, and Mark called, Mark would have gotten all of Jesus' money on the river.
I don't understand what the hell they're doing. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
You know, we know Jesus, obviously, old school live at the bike. He's not going anywhere with a big hand.
I'm not sure what they're thinking. Doesn't make any sense. So anyway, I can highly recommend that. Like, I'm actually kind of pointing out my new answer. If somebody asks me for a No Limit Hold'em book, if somebody asks me for, hey, I want to play No Limit Hold'em, what should I do to improve my game? Well, first and foremost, I would say watch our show. Okay, if you watch our show regularly, say 2 or 3 times a week, and you go to the archives and you kind of practice a little bit, that will improve your game 100-fold. And if there are a few books that you want to help your game with, Randy's going to take this down. If there's a few books you want to get to help your game, I would recommend 3 books. One of them being Doyle Brunson's Super System. 1 is fine. 2 is probably good, just as good. You can get them both. The No Limit section's really kind of a good introduction to a loose, aggressive style of poker, one that Doyle Brunson subscribes to. I like Phil Gordon's book as well. Phil Gordon's Little Green Book, which is Lessons and Teachings in No Limit Hold'em. I thought that book was actually really good. Very simple it's actually really simple.
Are you a fast reader? I mean, I'm not saying this would take that long to read. I'm talking about the Skolansky book here. But I mean, it's going to take you like 5 or 6 hours to really absorb.
Yeah, I got it about, I want to say 10 days ago.
Did you purchase it?
I did.
Oh.
Well, I got it for free through PokerStars.
Oh, okay.
The FPP thing, whatever.
Yeah.
So I finally, I have so many points. I was like, okay, I'll take it. So anyway, I'm recommending the Phil Gordon book, the Little Green book, the Doyle Brunson Super System, and then I'm going to recommend this book as well. And I think of these 3 books with our show and a lot of experience, that will really improve your game.
Limped around here 7 ways. It was a straddled pot, so it's a $70 pot. Now, Jesus, this time he didn't raise with pocket 8s.
Well, Mark's got top pair, and I'm sure he's going to bet it, and he is. Looks like he's betting $100, about the pot size, right?
Yeah. And Jesus actually has 7-8 there, so that's part of the reason. So Mark bets, and we get a call here on the button by Chris, and Chris is outkicked right now. Chris is outkicked, and so Jesus is double gutted. Does he see it, though? He has 7-8. Sometimes that's hard to see, and he folds.
And 7-8's a great hand in that spot, because if the 9 or the 5 come, you wouldn't normally put somebody on it. Plus a rainbow board.
Right.
You really do like the 7-8 there.
Turn is a 4. And Mark is going to continue to fire forward here.
Wow. Well, it's one of those spots where you might keep firing it because you don't want to check and give your opponent a free card.
Yep.
I mean, first of all, can you get paid off by a Jack 10 or in this case 10-8?
I don't want to necessarily. If we can keep this board up here to the end of the hand regarding maybe Chris is going to fold here, but I actually think, and the reason why I'm going this into detail because Mark always wants our advice, is that I think Mark misplayed this hand here a little bit on the turn. I think that he is committing too much chips, where if Chris has flopped, say, a set of 6s or something big, he's now going to commit himself to a raise. But at the same time, he can accomplish more with maybe a half pot size bet, like a $100 bet, get a call from a weak 10, and then be able to continue more of a value bet on the river. You can also bet weak and easily fold to a raise on the turn, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even necessarily need to bet.
It's almost the worst of both worlds by betting too much there on the turn.
Right, you're not going to get called by Jack 10 or in that case 10-8.
Right.
But I think Ace 10 might still call you anyway.
Yeah.
So.
But I wasn't necessarily even talking about trying to drive an Ace 10 out. I'm trying to get a call by Queen 10 or Jack 10, but get enough information so that if I bet he raises me, I know that King 10 isn't good. Because now if I commit 200 and he goes over the top, I'm almost committed to the hand.
You really are.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, that's...
And the board wasn't
tricky.
that... Right.
It's a little bit tricky in this game, you know?
Now, you got to remember, the pot was about $300, so he only bet 66% of the pot there. Probably could have got away with betting $150. The only problem is, if you bet weak, let me ask you this. Play devil's advocate.
You induce a play, right?
Well, Chris is a good enough player that if he, let's say you bet 100 to get on the turn, and he smells the weakness, and now he moves on the top because he thinks you're weak, well, now you're throwing away the best hand.
Now, look at this. Mark is going to bet out here with pocket 7s, and Kevin is going to call with King-Queen.
And I talk about if there's ever a leak in a no-limit game, I think it's calling with overcards.
And Mark had raised it pre-flop. Scott was in there. He called the raise out of the blind with 10-3 offsuit. He checks. The pre-flop raiser bets. We get a call in between, and he overcalls with 10-3, Dave. Wow. Mistake begets a mistake, but he's got the best hand. Now, wait a minute. Has he pulled a check raise here?
It looks like it.
So
looks like there's a $100 chip there.
He hasn't called. He's pulled the mini check raise with 10-3. I don't really know what that accomplishes either.
Well, I mean, it might get you. I mean, obviously we know the cards here, Bob.
Right.
But could it get Jack 10 out? Could it get 10-9 out?
Well, it gets pocket 7s out, but Kevin continues to call with King-Queen, and now Scott makes 2 pair. And he checked it. And Kevin checked right behind him, and now he fills up. And now he bets 100, and Kevin only called.
Oh, I got to tell you, can you leave that board on him? We're going to make a habit of this.
Wow.
Okay, if the guy called me on that flop, okay, now I catch a 3 and now I catch a 10. And it's a 10 of diamonds.
Oh, why don't you
I got to tell you,
yeah.
I am moving all in because if my opponent had a 10, he's going to call my all-in bet. And if my opponent made his diamonds, well, then I'm going to get all his money also.
Yeah, he only bet 100 there. It was a vast under bet there on the
huge.
river.
He was trying to get a call, but you've got to realize that if your opponent had anything, your opponent either had diamonds, which he made, your opponent either had a 10, okay, well, then he got there. He has trips now. Or he had 6-7. He's not going to call a $20 bet with 6-7. Which is open-ended. And we talk about overcards in this game. Now, I'm not a big fan of calling with overcards even in a limit hold'em game, but in a limit hold'em game, you can never make that big a mistake with just overcards. But in a no-limit game, I really think overcards, calling with just overcards, is one of the biggest mistakes you can make.
Obviously, because in limit, it only costs you a specific finite amount.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, if the flop comes out 9, 6 deuce, and you have ace king, okay, take one off. If you catch your king and some guy had king 9, okay, you're not going to get killed. But in no limit hold'em, you can.
Now, Scott leads out here again with a weak 10 this hand. You get a call by Jesus, a call by Mark, and a call by Chris. And Scott makes trip 10s again. And he checks it. 2 hearts out there. I don't know if he's not necessarily comfortable with his kicker or what.
Yeah, but, I mean, he was comfortable enough last time with 10-3 to check raise $100. Now he's going to let Mark draw for free.
Yeah. Here we go to the river.
And everybody misses.
Well, I think you definitely bet out here and hope to get a call from the nut flush draw, don't you?
Oh, definitely.
And he's going to throw a $100 bet out here.
Now, unfortunately for him, nobody's got the ace, but you're definitely in there hoping somebody's got ace-queen.
Yeah. And you're right, you know, from what we saw from Scott before, I don't think he was checking to play it conservatively. I think he was just trying to...
Yeah.
I mean, the question now is if someone had a bigger 10, would he go broke with that hand with 10-4? You know, Jennifer Bankston had actually, it was Alan that had a hand on Tuesday. He called the raise, again, with that same hand, ace-10 of spades, from Avi, who is a guy from New York who likes to email us in and call himself live at the Kike. He was here, and he's actually out there now.
My Jewish brother?
Yes, yes.
Oh, man. My Jewish family. Oh, I Gavolt. Ace Queen of Clubs here for Chris. You gonna tell me the story? Or no?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Got a $40 raise here by Chris. I just saw an email here that kind of caught me a little off guard, but I'll get to that in a second. He basically brought in with a raise with pocket queens, and Alan called him with ace-10, and the flop came out with trip aces. Alan check raised Avi. Avi called.
Wait, we're talking jackpot?
I think Chris takes it down there.
Trip aces or 2 aces?
2 aces on the board.
Oh, 2 aces. I think it's a trip ace.
So Alan had called the raise with ace-10.
Okay.
Flop comes like ace-ace rag. He's in the blind. He checks. Avi bets. Alan check raises. Avi calls. And now Alan continues to really fire hard at it. I mean, to make a long story short, at the end, Avi had queens. He actually filled up with queens on the river. But my question to Alan was, how much money are you going to commit with ace-10 on that board?
Right.
When you check raise, you get called. You fire again, and you get called.
Well, that's the reason we love playing with Alan. You know? And we're talking about that's Alan? That's Alan?
No. I'm talking about Alan in C2. That's what I'm saying.
Really?
Yeah, that's why it was peculiar with the ace-10, yeah.
Oh, man. Really?
I mean, he did get sucked out on at the end because Avi filled up with a queen.
And
but
you got to realize, though,
yeah.
if I'm check raising somebody and the flop is ace-ace blank,
yeah.
and he called my check raise, and then he's calling me the entire way, I know I'm in trouble. A lot of trouble.
Well, you know, he said that he read Avi on the turn as kind of having a mid-ish pocket pair like jacks or queens. Jesus raised here with ace-9 of clubs, and Chris called. We're heads up. Well, Jesus has hit the ace, and he checked it. Because Chris actually re-raised, Dave, pre-flop.
Yeah, well, yeah, look at Jesus.
And Jesus is going to check raise all in. And that's, well, you know what? That is actually probably the way to play this hand if you want to commit with an ace. You've raised with an ace, a guy re-raises you, and now you call. You're not going to, should not be in there with ace-9, but if you're going to play ace-king this way, I think it's proper to check raise.
If you are going to, especially in this game, if you are going to call a re-raise with ace-9 suited,
right?
I mean, I guess you're looking for the ace, and you hit the ace, why not?
But the way to extract money there is probably to check raise.
Right, if you bet into it and the guy's got kings or queens or, in this case, 8s, you're not going to get a call. That's for sure. I agree with you 100%. Button moves over to seat number 3. Yeah, so Bart, if you want to, you can actually borrow this book. I'm actually lending it out to Pojato, Jay Siegel, for a minute or two. I guess I'm a relatively fast reader.
Yeah.
But nothing crazy. 6 ways, limped around, jack 5-4, a couple of spades out there. Allen's got the jack. Now, nobody's really got much else of anything. And it checks around to the button, and Randy is going to bet 6-7. He's open-ended. Got to like that bet. Now, Jesus is going to call it. Scott is going to call with ace-deuce of hearts. Now, Scott's going to pick up the nut flush draw at the turn. King of hearts on the turn. You wonder why Scott is calling that flop. I mean, are you calling for the 3? If the 3 were to come, talk about reverse implied odds, because Randy's got the nut straight. And the river is a king, and Jesus has the best hand here with kings up, kings and fives, the jack kicker. And he's going to bet $60 to take it down. And you wonder if he's betting there thinking he's bluffing. Who knows?
So I wanted to ask you, actually.
Go ahead.
Obviously, I want to read this book so I can also review it as well as you. But for someone who's, quote-unquote, as advanced as me, would that book actually help me?
Yeah, I thought there were a couple of sections in there that were pretty interesting. I really did.
You did?
Yeah.
Stuff that we might not necessarily have covered, or I wouldn't have necessarily have thought
I'll
of.
put it this way. There's nothing that I'm going to read. There's nothing that you're going to read and go, oh, wow, I never thought about that ever. Right. Obviously, we sit here, we've gone over, thousands of hands. Ridiculously amount of hands, right, that we've seen. The hours of poker that we've seen, so we've pretty much seen it all. Do we know it all? Of course not. We're still learning. We learn every single day. So there's a lot in this book that's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you probably knew, and then you started to kind of go, and you can look at it and go, oh, yeah. And sometimes Clancy he writes it out in such a way that it makes it something that might have been in your mind, he puts on paper.
Where did I just put the winner of the drawing there?
Right here.
Oh, there it is.
And it's always nice, obviously.
Favor.
Sometimes also, if there's something that you've suspected for quite a while, it's always nice to kind of see it being confirmed.
But again, it does go into more no-limit theory than say, the theory of poker.
No, this is clearly, it's non-stop no-limit theory. And one of the things that Clancy points out is he goes, listen, unfortunately, in no-limit hold'em, I can't give you definite answers on what to do in this case.
It's not like limit where we can write a book saying
I can't say play this hand in this position, And the quote he basically uses that says, he goes, listen, I'm not looking to give you corn. I'm looking to show you how to grow corn, okay? And that's basically his theory. I want to show you how to grow it.
Right.
So you can win for years and years to come. I was supposed to actually give the book to Jay Siegel tonight, but apparently he's a no-show.
Limped around here. We're going to see a raise here. Out of seat 8, he's got pocket 10s.
75.
Going to make it 75 to go.
And I don't think anybody's going to call. Nobody calls. I can't tell you there's nothing in the book I don't disagree with, because of course there is.
Yeah.
But there's stuff in Doyle Brunson's book that I don't necessarily agree with, and there's stuff in Phil Gordon's book I don't necessarily agree with.
Yeah.
But if you take these 3 books, and then you take your own experience, and you kind of start melding your own game, and you watch Live at the Bike, and you see what works for you, I think it gives you a nice basis for to be successful. Apparently our good buddy Scott Huff is on the cover of Card Player magazine, the latest edition. The Circuit, cardplayer.com's radio show, hits prime time. I tell you, Joe Seabach is a great guy. Not really very flattering pictures of Joe or Gavin, though, on the cover of Card Player. Both of them look somewhat constipated, I must say. Scott looking, though, he trying to look cool, and I got to tell you, he looks cool.
Got a $35 raise here by Mark with the ace-queen. And Kevin is going to call here in position with the king-jack of diamonds. King-7 deuce here. Well, Kevin's outflopped him, Dave. Now, again, this is kind of a trap-dominated hand. Mark is going to come out and bet. Again, you don't really know where you're at.
Well, he's going to raise right away and find out.
I don't actually necessarily see, in a deeper game, I don't mind this play. The only problem here is if he raises here, does he commit himself to the hand? In a deeper game, I might raise, and if the guy calls me, I might think I'm beat. You know what I'm saying? Just to see kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, it's tough. Now, Kevin actually has $100 chips there, so both players are pretty deep.
Yeah.
So Kevin can get away from this if Mark comes back up top. Now, Mark's got the ace of clubs in his hand, so that pretty much lets you know your opponent is not on the nut flush draw.
Right.
He does not have ace-king with the ace of clubs. He does not have ace-jack of clubs. He's probably raising you on a king, and Kevin shows him the king.
Button moves over here to seat number 8. Queen Jack offsuit here for seat 5. Looks like Jesus is selling off some chips.
95. You said 100, right?
Actually, he's going to raise it up here to 100 with King Deuce offsuit.
Hey, 2 kings, man. 2 king, always a good hand. Strong hand.
And this is kind of like old school when Jesus wins a little bit of money. He starts playing really loose.
Yeah.
Old school Jesus. Looks like he's having some sushi over there. And he does know how to use chopsticks, something that I miserably fail at.
Yeah, you are sad.
When I was having sushi with Liz Lou last night, I kind of faked it a little bit because all I had was like a little tuna sashimi, which is really easy to pick up.
Right.
You know, as opposed to like a sushi piece.
You didn't ask for the helpers?
No.
In front of her? Okay.
Do you remember that when Patty brought out the little plastics, the plastic chopsticks?
How was the sushi restaurant last night?
Good.
Yeah? It's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Our new sushi restaurant opened up just about a week ago. Really quite good. It was our old grill. It's now sushi. You can get like a chicken teriyaki if you don't like sushi. But, I mean, they've got pretty good sushi across the board. 45. $45 raise from Roger here. He's got, I mean, pretty much garbage. You wonder if he's just getting a little impatient. Ace-6 offsuit. Talk about this game. It's really not a race. This is a marathon. No reason. There's no urgency to accumulate chips. It's not a tournament. You can really sit here and wait all day for the cards. Remember, the blinds are only $5. And you start thinking about it, it's only $10 to see a round. More often than not, nobody's really paying attention to how you're playing. You could sit there all day and still get paid off. Now, Kevin is going to take a shot at this with ace-5. He's got really nothing. But he's going to bet $20 into what? About wow. And, I mean, we're talking $20 into like a $200 pot. And is that going to... No, it's not going to get it done. Roger's going to continue to bluff, and he is going to raise it up to 75. Still a pretty smallish bet. And look at the stone face from Roger. Talk about a poker face. Now, if we get a shot of Roger there, real quick, that is a face. Now, I'm a big fan of physical tells. Anybody that knows the show knows. He is trying not to move. Now, obviously, I know what he has, so it's really easy for me to piece together that he is bluffing. But in this case, if you look at his, when he's sitting there all stone face, he's trying not to move. He's trying to be as still as possible, okay? Trying to let nothing out. Now, I'm not saying that's 100% a tell, but oftentimes that can be a tell. Kind of keep track of it. Normally, you know, he just didn't look comfortable. Who knows? Nice bluff, though, by Roger. He takes it down.
Now, Dave, we've got a couple of emails talking about a little bit of some audio problems while you're going through that book review. So let's go over that whole thing again, what we just talked about a little bit.
What?
You went and you read the entire No Limit Hold'em
Sklansky, Ed Miller book.
Sklansky, Ed Miller book. And you thought it was pretty good.
I think it's excellent.
Like a scale 1 to 10, what would you think?
1 to 10 and I'll rate it 1 to 10 enjoyment-wise, and then 1 to 10 based on its use. You know how educational it was. Enjoyment-wise, it's probably like a 5.
Yeah.
You know, because he just the way he writes.
A little bit dry. Yeah.
Well, the way Sklansky writes, he writes so mathematical that you read it and you're kind of like, oh God, I feel like I'm in calculus class.
Right.
But educational value, I would say probably an 8.5 or so. I really think it's very useful.
So you would definitely recommend it to people?
I would, yes. Yeah. I like it a lot. And I'm getting nothing for this, by the way, from Sklansky. Maybe
do you think it's the best thing you've seen about No Limit Hold'em cash games? And Frank, does it specifically cover cash games?
It does. It specifically covers cash games. It probably, it's probably 15% tournaments, 85% cash games. It really does base on cash games. I don't want to say it's the best thing. It depends on what kind of player you are. I mean, if you're the type of player that wants to play more of a Doyle Brunson style, well then, hey, go get Super System 1.
Right.
Because that book's great, I think.
Scott is going to raise it up here. He's got Ace-Jack of Hearts on the button.
In terms of the easiest book to read, let's say you were trying to get your mother into poker, into No Limit Hold'em, or let's say you were getting your wife or somebody who just wasn't that familiar with it. I actually really liked Phil Gordon's Little Green Book. Very easy to read. On an educational level, it's probably only, say, a 6.5 or a 7. But on entertainment value, it's probably an 8.5 or a 9.
Now, Mark calls with pocket 8s here from up front where you're heads up. Well, there's the ace. And there's 3 diamonds on board here. Mark actually has the only diamond. I would assume this is probably check fold here for Mark, unless he just wants to come out and bet. Now, remember, we talk about a 3 flush with an ace out there. It's a scary board for anyone that doesn't have a diamond or an ace.
Even if you have an ace here in Scott's hand, how much can he take here with ace-jack?
Well, Scott's going to bet 130 here.
This game's playing pretty big. A lot of money.
And look at this. Mark is going to check raise here. Again, I don't necessarily know about this play. I almost would rather bet here, committing a lot of money here with pocket 8s with the 8 of diamonds. He's going to make it 300 more. Now, the funny thing is that you and I would probably lay ace-jack of hearts down here easily. I don't know necessarily if players here are going to get rid of it.
Well, you got to start thinking, what does my opponent have? What is he check raising me with?
300 total. He's made the mini check raise, Dave.
What is he check raising me with here?
And he is going to call. And this pot is quickly $700.
And Mark needs an 8 or a diamond. He actually has 11 outs.
Well, the turn's a 7. Now he picks up more outs.
Yeah, he catches 6 as well.
And now he's going to move all in.
Yeah, and that might have been what Scott was doing. Scott maybe called the 300 to see what Mark would do on the turn. And Mark is going to keep firing here. He's going to continue with the bluff. The problem with this bluff, now this is probably going to work. I'm going to say Scott's going to lay this down, but the problem with the bluff is, what happens if Scott had, say, pocket kings with the king of diamonds? Remember, you've saved nothing to bluff on the river.
Yeah.
Where now Scott, now in this case, obviously he has no diamonds, he's going to lay it down. But let's say Scott didn't have the bet. Let's say Scott had king, queen with the king of diamonds, something like that. He might feel compelled to call with 1 card to come.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, Mark takes it down there. And again, we sometimes talk about why is he doing this, but then you can't necessarily judge the results of a move and say, well, it was a proper play just because Mark took down the pot in that case.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start thinking about it. Is Scott going to lay down ace-jack with the jack of diamonds?
I don't necessarily know if it changed. I mean, maybe Scott doesn't, but if you really look at it from a standpoint of, okay, you know, ace-jack with the jack of diamonds or ace-jack with 2 hearts, does it really change the hand at all unless you specifically think that Mark has flopped a flush and you have outs? But if Mark is making this move with a high diamond or a better ace, does it really change anything? The fact that you have the jack of diamonds in that hand. I mean, I guess it makes the hand a little bit stronger if you were to call it all in with a couple hearts to come, I guess.
Well, I mean, the only thing, it depends on what your opponent has, obviously.
Right.
If your opponent had something, say, 4-5, 2 pair,
Right,
bottom 2 pair, it gives you more outs. But obviously it's difficult either way because you don't know what your opponent's making the move with.
Right. 5-way action here. Ace, king, deuce. I mean, the answer to your question is I don't think I even get involved with ace-jack with a jack of diamonds.
No, probably
either.
not.
Yeah.
But sometimes in this game, you see players making that mistake where they go, oh, I've got the jack of diamonds, I can't throw this away.
Absolutely. That's, that's what I've said. Jesus is going to come out and bet here with the king.
Take it down.
And he is going to take it down. Again, we are here. We're playing 5-5 no limit, 300 min, 500 max. No limit, no limit. Yellow chips are $5 chips. I'm Bart Hanson. I'm here with Dave Tuckman. And kind of a couple announcements in the beginning of the show if you missed it. Mo said he's probably going to be taking on a Tuesday now. Or hopefully we'll have the 500 min uncapped 5-10 game on Tuesday nights now. So we'll have 3 pretty big nights of uncapped no limit poker. Tomorrow night, of course, is our 10-20 no limit hold'em with 1,000 min uncapped. Congratulations to Daryl Praver, winner of the guest commentator promotion. And we gave away 3 poker chip tricks, poker night games, and other card playing tricks from America's #1 con man Todd Robbins to 3 archive subscribers last night. One of which was David Kelsey. Actually, one.
Really?
Yeah.
Like great stocking stuffers, huh?
Live straddle here was limped around, so we've got looks
top,
like
top and bottom for Scott.
We've got 6-way action. It's a $60 pot.
And Scott's going to bet.
Yeah, Scott's
got 2 pair.
Bet out here with king 3. He bets 45.
Now, unfortunately for him, nobody's got king queen or king jack or anything like that. I don't think anybody can call this, but Kevin's going to call.
Well, Kevin's going to call with jack 7, and as you can see, if he hits 2 pair extreme reverse and flight odds, he needs to hit a 7 and a 7 only here.
I got to tell you, though, I mean, if I'm in that hand with jack 7, I don't want the jack because I got to think maybe Scott's got king jack. You got to think of likely holdings for somebody with a king here.
Scott bets 100 now.
Oftentimes, sometimes if you're going to take one off to see if you can hit 2 pair, you've got to make sure that your 2 pair is not going to give him a better 2 pair.
Yeah.
And in this case, you just can't be sure of that, so I probably wouldn't even call in the first place. Now, let's say I had 7-6, for example. Well, in that case, I'm pretty sure this guy doesn't have king 6. Although you never know. In this game, this guy's got king 3. But you understand where my thought is going.
Yeah. Well, Kevin's taking a lot of time with this one.
I mean, you got to look at that flop, though. What is the guy betting? It's king 7-3. I mean, there's no draw whatsoever. It's a rainbow board. You got to put this guy on minimum a king, don't you? I mean, what do you think he's betting here? 6-5?
I mean, he's put a nice little pot-sized bet out there as well.
Trouble hand. That's a trouble hand.
Trouble hand, yeah. It's a trouble hand if you're looking at probably a jack out there. I'm not exactly sure.
The funny thing is, he's saying trouble hand. You probably think he has king jack.
Right. That would definitely be a trouble hand.
I would sit there with king 3, and I'd probably go to him. I go, what do you have, king jack?
Yeah, trouble hand.
King queen?
Yeah. And again, we didn't do an episode of the video blog today, but we're going to do it tomorrow, Dave, and it'll be up tomorrow night. I've got a kind of a doozy of a hand that transpired between Mo and I. And it didn't turn out to be that big of a hand, but it came out to be basically a situation where Mo raised me on the river, and I had the second nut, and the issue is, do I raise back or not? So it was a really fun hand, one of the kind of very, very interesting hand that I played against Mo.
Yeah, it really is. Obviously, you got to know if, when you're re-raising a good player, there's only a very few amount of hands you're going to get called by.
Right.
Is there value there?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of things they talk about. The one thing I like about this book, the Sklansky-Miller No Limit book, is they talk about, I mean, they get into things like here. In No Limit, however, raising for isolation doesn't work nearly as well as in limit holding. And he gives the reasons. It really gets specific. And that's the kind of stuff that I was looking for. Talking about raising to steal the blinds. Talking about keeping pots small or making pots big. You know, controlling pot size. They really spend a lot of time on that.
Now, we have a raise here. I want to say it looked like it was from, was it from Randy there with the ace-queen of diamonds over in C? Actually, it was actually by Scott with pocket threes. He does not continuation that. Turn is a deuce.
Well, still nobody's got much of anything. Jesus has got I want to say a gut shot straight draw. He can catch 6 to win it.
Yeah, now Scott's going to come out and bet. Again, the board is Jack 4, 8
now,
deuce.
Kevin is not in the hand. Chris is in the hand, though. And Chris is going to, it looks like, just call with ace-10 of clubs.
Ace-10.
Wow, and it's Scott versus Chris, and I'm not sure what exactly Chris is going for here with ace-10.
Yeah, he called with ace-10. He doesn't have anything. All he has is ace-high. The question now is Scott thinks he's going to need to fire here with pocket threes.
And Chris does not fire with the ace-high.
And it gets checked down, and threes are good. Threes are good on that board.
Well, I mean, you know what? You probably put the guy on busted hearts at that point. You almost have to. He shows on the threes thinking there's no way I can win. But sure enough, the threes are good. You're not quite sure what Chris was thinking there. Chris is usually a very solid player. I'm not quite sure he would call with ace-10 of clubs. Maybe he thought of making a move there on the river if a certain card came off. Unfortunately for him, the card that he needed did not come off. You know, a lot of times people ask me the question, they go, Dave, how do I work on my poker odds? How do I work on figuring out, you know, if I'm at the table, how do I quickly figure out if I have the right odds to call? And what I always try to tell them is I go, check out the Pokulator.
Yep.
Okay, on the right-hand side, click on it, and you can kind of just play with it. What I used to do, and I still do once in a while, obviously being on the show, I'm a little more familiar with it than I used to be, but I used to actually go to the Pokulator, and I would kind of punch in a few hands that maybe I would have, and I kind of create scenarios just to see what kind of percentages there were, actually. And if you're having trouble with the odds yourself, you can check that out on our website.
Now look at this. This is limped around, and it looks like Chris is going to push from the small blind the rest of his money all in with 4-5 of clubs. 110. And again, I'm not quite sure about that move. I never understand why someone doesn't just kind of rebuy. You can bring your stack up to 300 or 500 at any time in this game.
Risking 110 to win 20. Right. You've got to realize how often you have to be correct to make that play and actually work. If you're risking 110 to win 20, you have to win it 6 out of 7 times to make $10.
Yep.
Wow. Now, obviously, you can still be called and you can suck out on somebody. Obviously, you're going to be behind when you get called, though. Wow. Hour into the show, and I really haven't offended anybody yet, have I?
35.
It'll keep replaying every 3 hours of game tomorrow. Instead of off at 10.
Two plates.
Pocket 9s against pocket 7s here.
Jesus takes it down. Button moves over to seat number 8. Jennifer there in the small blind, getting the massage. Once again, if you play here at the bike, we've got literally, you can do everything. You get to eat for free with your bicycle, with your club card. You can get massages at $1 an hour. A buck a minute, sorry. $1 an hour, I'd be out there right now. $1 a minute. Win some money. We've got sushi here now. Obviously, I'm a little biased, but I got to tell you, when I'm not in the booth, I'm not an employee of the bike. I mean, I can really play anywhere I want to, but I choose to play here. It really is a great place to play poker. Get a raise here from Kevin. We're going to go dark here. Seems to be having some card problems. Kevin's going to raise it up with the old ace-4 of diamonds. And Chris is now going to move all in with ace-jack. Now, that's not as bad a play, obviously, as before, because now he's re-raising somebody. There's already about $40 dead in there, and he's putting in about $135 to win, say, $50. A little bit better here. And you never know. You could get called by, say, pocket eights. You could get called by even an ace-4. You never know. Now, I don't know if Kevin's going to call this, though. $100 more to him. And he is not going to call ace-4, and Chris takes it down. Playing short stack poker, he shows the ace-jack.
You know, I've seen Chris a lot around the casino. He's a former football player, isn't that right? Or
I don't
is
know.
it former basketball? Was he the guy from the Clippers, right? Former Clippers player? Ray, come on, man, help me out, no?
Chris Mills.
Chris Mills.
Oh, Chris Mills?
Chris Mills, yeah.
From Arizona. Didn't he play for Arizona College?
Possibly. I'm kind of at a loss.
I told John Dan the same thing. Oh my God, Bobby just slapped your hands.
Arizona, right?
Yeah, and then he played for the Golden State
Oh,
Warriors.
wow, Arizona. That was. I want to say that's when they won the national championship. I wonder. I got to check that out. Like I was saying before, Chris Mills is actually a pretty good player. I mean, he plays a solid game. I've seen him play. I think he got stuck here. He got a little impatient here. Now he's going to move all in again with ace-king. Now, you know, some people can say, well, why move in all that? You're not going to get called. It's not necessarily a bad play because now he's done it 3 times.
Yeah.
He might get called by a hand like ace-jack.
Right.
He might even get called by king-queen. You never know. And Jesus is not going to call, but I wouldn't have surprised me if he did.
Yeah, if Jesus had called with ace-8, and that's exactly the situation you want to be in.
Right. I mean, you raise with garbage, and now you pick up a real hand. We'll do the same exact thing. You saw me set up a player like that where I raised it like 3 out of 4 times, but I raised it so much each time. And then when I finally did it again with pocket kings, the guy paid me off with ace-queen. Yeah, or in our home game where, you know, I kept moving in, and Isaac called all his money off with queen deuce. So once again, that's not 2 queens. That was deuce queen.
Ace queen offsuit here on the button in seat 1.
Not surprisingly, queen deuce wasn't the best hand. Yeah, and Isaac correctly pointing out that last week somebody won a huge pot with queen deuce.
Yes, they did.
Queen deuce has some hidden value. I tell you, you can make 2 straights with queen deuce, and if it's offsuit, you can make 2 flushes with it. And I believe Isaac's was offsuit.
Button's going to raise it up here to 35, it looks like, with an ace-queen. And Jesus quickly calls here with jack-10. Chris is going to call here with ace-3 offsuit.
The only problem with queen deuce is I really thought Isaac thought he could do that wraparound straight, like jack-king-ace was a straight for him.
Well, Chris there, he's on the short stack even. He called with ace-3 offsuit. That's a little surprising. Now, Jesus is, he's got middle pair. Now, Scott's got a gut shot. Jesus actually has the best hand here. Is he going to get involved? He's got a lot of chips. It looks like it's a $100 bet.
And he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, he makes the call.
Now, Scott's got a lot of outs here. He really does. He can catch a jack an ace. Now, queen is no good.
I think Chris is pulling the fake out here. I can't imagine he's going to do this with ace 3. Wow, backdoor spade flush draw here, Dave. He's moving in with ace 3. I think he wants to rebuy here. But again, you can rebuy at any time, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's thinking there.
Yeah. And look at this. Scott is going to come in and call. 43 more, and that brings Jesus in. And this pot is
43 more. Where are you going to go with ace queen?
Yeah, this pot is quickly about $550. Here we go to the turn. We're going to build a side pot.
Well, there's a spade.
There's a spade. Now, Jesus also has a spade. Jesus checks, and I assume that Scott's going to take a card here. No reason to bet. He takes the card on the side. Here we go to the river. Well, the river is an 8, and Jesus is going to win here with pair of 10s.
I mean, normally I'm not going to call with $43 with ace queen, but the pot is laying me 11-1. I have to call.
And Jesus is going to be shocked that Jack 10 is a winner there. There it is.
And look at Jesus is probably sitting there going, wait a second.
Yeah.
It's that easy? That's all I got to do? Move all my money in with second pair against 2 players, and it's good. And the spade came. I mean, you got to look at it and go, wait a second. I had Jack 10 there. The spade hit, and it's still good against 2 players.
San Francisco Jesus. You know, I kind of want to make a mid-year's resolution. I made a mid-year's resolution right at the beginning of July. I wanted to learn Mexican poker because I want to really know how profitable that game can be. Because it seems like it's a great game over there. I mean, poker's
I would
poker.
imagine, I would imagine, you know, the other day I was playing 20-40 mix.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. I was playing, and it's a lot of games that I don't have that much experience playing in. But Alan was in the game, Corporation Mike was in the game, and I was like, you know what, this game looks good. I'm going to play it. Sure enough, I won like $2,000 in 2 hours in a 20-40 mix game. Poker is poker, and you talk about, you know, you're always looking for the best lineup. I would imagine you're right.
Yeah.
No limit Mexican poker. Now, once again, though, I think it's Spanish only over there.
Well, I don't think it's Spanish only, but they can definitely speak Spanish. 5-way action here. 8
Alan's
deuce,
flop
deuce.
trips.
Yeah, Alan's got king deuce. He limped on the button. It's a rainbow board. He's going to throw a little money in here.
Well, no, Jesus.
Oh, now look at this. Jesus is going to come out and bet. Now, how is Alan going to play it? He's going to min raise here. Well, Jesus has just bluffed at it. But again, if Alan min raises here, I think Jesus calls with an 8. I don't mind the move.
Really? The only reason I don't like the move is look at Alan's stack. Look how much money Alan has.
What, you're saying he doesn't have that much?
There's no reason to build the pot that quickly. I know you and I always talk about building a pot if you're deep. Now, Jesus has a lot of money, but
Alan's got like 500 in front of him, right? 2 stacks of 250?
Does he have that much?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I know it's a $60
I
bet. If he mins raises and Jesus has an 8 there, Jesus will call. That will enable Alan to bet another 150 on the turn. Jesus will call, and now Alan will be able to bet all in on the river. Okay. He's going to have to probably raise at some point.
I'm with you. I'm with you now.
You know,
I just figure, obviously it's easy for us. We see the cards. I just figure it. Obviously, if he's got a deuce, the money's going to go in no matter what. That's no problem.
Oh, yeah.
But I just figure if he has an 8, you can wait till a turn to put some money in there. I mean, let Jesus bet one more time.
Maybe. Roger's got pocket aces here. He's going to pop it up.
I thought Alan only had like $200 in front of him, which is why I was like, why?
His stacks pretty deep. Yeah. Now, Randy's got 9s over here.
Now, this is one of those problem hands where you're not. I don't know if you're deep enough to call to hit your set, but is the hand too good enough to lay down?
Scott is called in between here with 6-7 of diamonds.
Well, with him calling in between, you probably can call this and try to hit your set. But remember,
Jesus
Randy
does not call with 8-9 of hearts. Interesting.
It's all about instinct for him, man.
Well, Kevin he's toiling over this decision with Jack Deuce offsuit.
It's one of those trouble hands.
Yep. So I'm a little surprised that Jesus mucked the 8-9 of hearts. We're going to see these 3 ways. Definitely got some aces cracker hands in there. Queen, 10 here on the flop.
Yep. Now, fortunately for Roger, he's in great shape here. Now, in this case, my physical tell of Roger is completely off. If we got a shot of Roger there, he is as stoic as he was before. When he was bluffing with nothing, with ace-6. This time, once again, completely stone-faced, and he's got the goods here.
Oh, wow, Randy's getting involved. He made the call here, Dave, and he is in bad shape. Turn is an 8.
Well, he's picked up outs. He can catch a jack or a 9
Now, what do
to
you
win
think?
this.
But if you're Roger here, what do you think Randy's called you with here?
Very scary.
Can you continue to fire? And it goes check, check. And the river is an ace, so if the guy was sandbagging a queen, he just let you get there.
Check out his Adam's apple, man. Just popped up like 8 decibels there. It's like, oh, dink, dink.
Now he bets 100. And look at this. Randy calls him. He calls him with pocket 9s. Well, he can't beat king jack. He can't beat pocket kings. He can't beat pocket jacks. He has pocket 9s. I'm just trying to figure out a hand that he would have raised with that 9s can beat there at the end.
He can beat king 9. Pocket 5s.
Well, obviously like a pocket pair below 7s. 8
Right.
is actually a full house as well.
Sometimes, we talk about sometimes there being pot odds. You're looking at the pot and you go, well, the pot was $400, $100 for me to call. I'm getting 4-1. Don't I have to call? Well, sometimes if your opponent can't be bluffing, well, then he isn't bluffing. And this is one of those cases where he just can't be bluffing, can he?
I thought the river made me more money. I thought he had a queen, when he just smooth called.
Well, see, that's funny there. He says, I thought he had a queen. Well, if you thought the guy had a queen, why wouldn't you move all in?
Why would you overbet the river?
I'm going to overbet it if I put the guy in a queen.
I think so many times people miss out on huge amounts of money that they can win by underbetting the river with a monster because they just want to call.
Now, in that case, he probably bet about as much as he could and get a call from pocket 9s.
That's amazing.
But if you actually put your opponent on a queen, I'm all in.
Yeah. And by the guy checking the turn, you might even think that he has a full house, Dave. Like he flopped queen 10 or 10s full or something like that.
Exactly. I hope he has quad queens.
Yeah.
And we got a jackpot.
Queen 8-9 here with a couple of hearts. Allen is going to bet here with the bottom end of an open-ended straight draw, and Randy's flopped top 2 here, and he's going to raise.
Now, Allen's hand, obviously, you can bet that hand, but that hand really has no value because the 10, first of all, there's 2 hearts out there.
Yeah.
Second of all, if the 10 comes out, anybody with a jack would have a straight.
Easy lay down there for Allen.
Yeah, very easy. Obviously, nothing wrong with betting it, though.
Yeah.
I'm always an advocate for being aggressive at these games.
Chris, he's a pretty big dude over there, but Randy is a big dude as well over there in C3.
Yeah, Randy's
a big dude.
I don't want to mess with either one of them,
Yeah.
I got to tell you. Allen, though, I could take Allen. Allen, what does he weigh, like 140?
Yeah, Allen's pretty skinny
I can take
guy.
him.
Yeah. yeah, Dave, you're giving up 20 pounds to Allen, but you could still take him, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you might be giving up 5 pounds to Jennifer.
I see. Took you about an hour and a half to actually come up with some sort of comeback, but finally, something.
4-way action here. 5-4 jack here.
I've been trying to gain weight.
Have you really?
I will.
Well,
I've actually gained 2 pounds.
Jennifer's going to throw a little bet out here at the top end of a gut shot with backdoor clubs.
She's got a gut shot, yeah, not bad. She's got such an image that
Chris is going to call her with second pair garbage kicker.
That's the image thing. I mean, you figure if she can bet, she can always take it down. And
Yeah, and I actually like her betting here again. It's another overcard. You can definitely there's a difference if it was an undercard like a deuce or something like that, where if the guy called you with a jack, he's going to continue to call you. An undercard to top pair, but with the queen here, I like the bet.
Yeah, I just don't understand why you'd be calling here at 5-3. You got to realize there's not much value to it. First of all, if you hit your 5 or your 3, Jennifer usually does not pay you off.
Right.
So you're either going to raise her or throw the hand away.
Basically, they're playing, they're round off pitchers, and both lines agree to
There are some players where you want to call and see if you can catch, and those are the players you're betting for value against. Somebody like, say, that's Allen. But against a Jennifer or a Dr. Beebe or somebody like that, well, those are the players you want to raise off of their kind of marginal holdings.
One of the other things I did in Vegas.
What?
If, I actually went to like a Nordstrom's rack, went to a couple of department stores, went to some outlet stores, and I bought myself about $600 worth of new wardrobe.
This is something you bought?
About 10 or 50.
You paid money for this?
This is like a $150 shirt.
I thought maybe you lost a bet.
Really? Look at this shirt. This is a great shirt. Are you kidding me?
Look at your
shirt. What is that? Straight out of 1991?
Okay. Are you kidding me?
How about the shirt I was wearing last night, too? Pretty stylish.
I'm sure you were styling last night.
Oh, look at this. Trip queens against trip queens. Trip aces against trip aces. Jesus has got Chris outkicked. And Chris is rebought here, so he can lose a lot. And Jesus is going to bet right away. He was the pre-flop raiser, Dave. He bets 40, and how is Chris going to play it?
Oh, man. You got to be a little aware that if you're getting any heat from ace-10 here, with ace-10, what can you beat?
Kevin is calling with deuce-8. Is he calling to set up a play? And now, so you've got a bet and a call, and you have ace-10. What are you
got to be real
ace-10?
careful with this hand, because you got to realize it's a raised pot. So if Jesus has pocket kings, you're beat. If he has an ace with a higher kicker, you're beat. If he has pocket queens or lower, you're not going to get a call from him anyway, right?
So let's see what Chris is going to do. Wow, he's going to min check raise. Well, maybe he is trying to plan on maybe folding to a push. If he's check raising here for a little information and Jesus comes back over the top, but Jesus is just going to call. He's just going to call. And I don't know what Kevin's doing in there, but I think it's time for him to get out of the pot.
Did he overcall? He did.
He overcalled with 8 deuce. Well, the turn's a 7. Now we got a check here by Chris. Oh, wow, and Jesus didn't bet. Jesus is going to leave some money on the table. Well, the river's a 6 unless he's going to push now on the river.
Well, Chris is going to bet for value, and I think
100.
Jesus is going to raise it.
And again, the way this hand plays out, can you lay ace-10 down? Yeah, Jesus moves all in now, James.
And notice how he does not put the chips in.
You cannot beat kings. You can't beat pocket 7s. You can't beat pocket 6s. You can't beat ace-queen or ace-jack.
By the way, great play by the great move by the dealer here, and Chris is going to call.
Wow, Chris doesn't even think twice about it, and Jesus is going to once again stack.
I want to give credit to our dealer for making Jesus put the chips in there.
Yeah.
We always see that mistake, obviously. Players don't do that, but dealer jumps in there and makes sure he does that.
And look at Jesus on a roll.
Now, I'm going to ask you something, because I'm just not sure. Okay, you call with 8 deuce of diamonds, right?
I don't know what he was looking for.
No, but you call the first bet.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going, okay, maybe I'll set up a play, right? I'm going to represent an ace, because this guy would never bet with an ace. Maybe he's got pocket queens, and I can represent on turn. Okay, that's fine. But now you get a min raise behind you, and a call.
Min check raise.
A min check raise behind you, and a call of the raise. And now you're just going to call with the 8 deuce? What do you...
You talk about Chris being a solid player, but again, these are the types of things you got to replay that whole hand in your head. What would Jesus push in there with on the river that you beat with ace-10, even if ace Jesus?
Yeah.
I mean, would he push in with ace-9 or ace-8?
He might.
I mean, but those are the only two. You can't beat ace-7, ace-6, pocket 7s, pocket 6s, pocket kings, ace-king, ace-queen, or ace-jack, right?
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to there's probably 4 or 5 hands you can't beat.
Yeah.
And there's only 2 you can beat. Now, Jesus would probably overvalue ace-8 and ace-9 as well.
Right.
Just thinking, hey, I have trip aces. There's no way I can lose this. But I got to tell you, I'm probably trying to keep that pot as small as possible if I'm Chris. You know, sometimes there's not much you can do here. Now, Randy's got pocket kings.
Yeah, he brought it in for 20, and he's going to see several people in the pot. Very loose table here. It's a $100 pot, 5-way action.
It's a ton of money on the table right now. A lot of money on this table.
Well, ace-jack of diamonds over here for seat 6, Kevin. This time he's got a real hand. Overcards and the nut diamond draw.
Yeah, now in this case he has 12 outs. He can catch an ace or a diamond. It's kind of a smallish bet there by Randy.
How much is he going to bet? He bets, half the pot size.
50?
50. Let's see what Kevin's going to do. Is he just going to call? He just calls.
And we're heads up here.
Now, we've seen Scott overcall with kind of this weak hand. He's going to overcall with bottom pair. Oh, he folds.
No, okay. I assumed we were heads up there. So the pot is about, what, $150?
Well, it's about 200 now.
200, okay.
Turns an 8.
And I imagine Randy's going to move all in here. And he does. For about $180.
So it's now a $380 pot, $180 to call. If you think your ace is good, can you make the call? There's no implied odds. You're almost getting 2 to 1, and I think you need a little more than that, as you can see from the percentages.
Well, that's usually
both your overcards are good, but I don't see how you can think both of your overcards are good.
There are a lot of ways to play this hand. I don't necessarily hate the way to play this hand. I don't necessarily think it's terrible to just call pre-flop. I mean, on the flop.
He makes the call. Here we go to the river. He needs an ace or a diamond. Nope.
Not going to come.
Yeah.
Randy doubles up there. Now, I was going to say, obviously you can raise it on the flop, right, with the ace-jack of diamonds. Your hand is strong enough to raise, but you can smooth call. Your hand is strong enough to smooth call.
Yeah.
But you've got to realize that you are calling pretty much for one card. Because if you miss on the turn and the guy moves all in, you have to throw it away. You can't call there.
Right.
You're just not getting the right odds. Even if you hit the diamond or the ace over the long haul, you are losing money on that call.
Button moves over here to Jennifer Banks in seat number 9. Well, you talk about someone that you actually do have weight on. Or, you know, you actually outweigh Liz Liu. I mean, boy, is she a tiny, tiny, tiny girl. I mean, she couldn't probably weigh more than 95 pounds. You've seen her in person, too, right?
She's very tiny. I told her I saw her at the World Series, and I said to her, hey, you're going to be on our show, right?
Yeah.
And she wasn't sure if it was going to be with me or you. She asked me to do it, but I told her it was going to be you. And she said, okay, I'll make it work. Okay.
Got a raise here by the Jesus up there in seat number 4. I did bring a girl with me shopping in Vegas, actually, by the way, 2 days.
Did you?
Yes. Ray's commenting in my ear.
Was it Helen Keller?
Like this shirt, Ray?
Who did you bring? Was she? I mean, is she blind?
It was actually my friend's girlfriend that I was staying with in Vegas.
Okay.
King 7-7 here on the flop.
No, I'll be honest. You know what? The shirt you're wearing, it's a vast improvement over what you usually wear.
Jesus is going to bet out here with ace 5. He bet 70. And well, Randy's got a kind of a dryish flush draw here from up front. Low spades. It is a paired board as well. And he's going to make the call here. Talk about chasing those dry flush draws.
Yes. Well, there's the ace for Jesus. Now, you got to be aware, though, if your opponent called you with the nut spade draw, you are probably chopping right now. So you can bet it, safely betting it, right? Remember, if your opponent had ace-king, you probably would have heard from him. So if he has, let's say he has ace-9 of spades, well, you're chopping it anyway. You can really put pressure on your opponent that way.
You wouldn't go out with this outfit. Look at these jeans, too, man.
Man, what do you want me to say? You're like a woman. Jesus. You want me? Okay, they already have like all these Brokeback things about us. You want me to come out and say, "Man, Bart, you look good. You look hot." Okay,
yes.
I want to fuck you. Is that what you want me to say?
Yes.
Jesus.
Do it to me, Dave.
Christ.
Butt moves here to seat 1.
Man, that's like my wife coming in and saying, you know, how do I look in this? I mean, what am I going to say?
Well, I assume you have some kind of like archived automatic responses for that, right?
No, I mean,
that just kind of come out.
You know what? I mean, after you're married for a few years, you know, your wife can usually see right through the bullshit. So you got to come up with some new, sincere, genuine stuff. Otherwise, she'll, you know, she'll call you on it.
More than that in a second. Limped around here 5 ways. Actually, 6 ways, so it's a $30 pot here. Queen 4-7 with a couple of spades.
Not much of anything for anybody, huh?
Jesus is going to come out and bet. Remember, when he wins money, we saw him do it in the bigger games. He'll just come out now and he'll play like a super reckless lag.
Well, now he's got enough money at this table. Remember, Mo tried it. Remember, Mo only had $300. Now he's got enough money at the table.
Yeah, he's got like almost $2,000 in front of him.
He can put pressure on, say, players in seat 1. He can put pressure on, you know, anybody that has more than $700 or $800 on. He can really put a lot of pressure on.
Well, Kevin called with a pair of 7s here. Turns a queen.
And I think Kevin's going to really put some pressure on Jesus here, and Jesus is probably going to fold.
Jesus actually could win the hand with a jack or a 9 here, correct? Did he move all in? Did Jesus push all in? He did. And a call here by Kevin. Oh, wait a minute. No, excuse me. I'm sorry about that, folks. I could have sworn he pushed all in, and then he called, but he actually folded.
I think he thought of doing it.
Yeah, okay.
And he said, nah, I'll give it up.
Yeah.
He thought about it, and Kevin almost had a heart attack there. He said, no, don't move in, don't move in.
Yeah. Button moves over here to C2. Actually, Donna, our lovely floor assistant, is actually on vacation for the next week, so.
No chip counts.
Oh, there we go. We've got a kind of a helper out there. I haven't really heard much from her tonight.
Look at her.
Yeah.
Wow. Ah.
The button moves over here to C2.
We haven't heard a word from her all night.
Yeah.
She's got a cute smile.
Yeah.
She's probably blushing right now. Guaranteed. Bright red. Oh, look at her. Stop it. Don't talk about me.
6-way action here. King, deuce, king. Well, Chris has got trip kings here. And Jesus is once again going to come out and bet with absolutely nothing.
Bart continuing to show off his shirt to me.
Now, I assume it's going to be... Well, actually, Chris is just going to move in here. Now, he's going to raise it up with King 5. I guess he's going to drive the flush draws out. And again, in this game, I mean, I guess you might commit with trip kings with King 5, but I got to tell you, if you're in a deeper game, we always talk about it, if you're 3,000 deep, you cannot push in with a flop like that with King 5.
Well, you can, but it's pretty much suicidal. If
Well, you're only going to get called by a hand that's going to beat you. It's basically
pretty much. Yeah. You're not going to get called by a flush draw. You're going to get called by a bigger king. I mean, maybe you get off a King 9 or something like that. But, you know, somebody's going to really start. If somebody has King 9, they're going to be wondering, why are you pushing in?
Yeah.
What are you scared of? You know, King, Deuce, King, you're really scared of something? If you had a big king?
But you wanted to seat 3.
So how many shirts did you buy for $600? Did you buy pants too or just shirts?
Yeah, I bought some pants. I don't know, maybe like 10 to 15.
Okay. Wow. Phenomenal.
We're going to go the next couple hands. We're going to do dark here without seeing the cards. And I will tell you what everybody has, but the graphics will not be up on the screen.
I'll just guess based on whatever he has here.
Ace Queen of Diamonds here for seat number 1.
You gave it away, man. Well, that does it too.
He's going to bet. He's going to raise it up to 50.
$50. Remember, the blinds were only 5-5. He makes it 50 to go.
And Jesus calls there with King 10 there.
Well, okay.
Isaac working the whole card case.
Now, remember, Scott is deeper than normal, so you might want to make a bigger raise.
And there's the guy in the blind. It's over to him with Ace 5 offsuit. Kevin, is he going to call?
He is going to call. We're going to see it 3-ways, $150 pot before the flop.
Ace Queen, King 10 off, and Ace 5, seat 1, the razor with Ace Queen of Diamonds, 150. Here we go to the board. Well, 8-4-3, and it's missed everybody. Nobody has a pair. We got a wheel draw for Ace 5, and Jesus is going to come out and fire with the King 10.
And he bets $100.
8-4-3, 2 spades.
Actually, he bets 80.
Now, is Kevin going to get stubborn here and call with the wheel draw with the Ace 5 next
We've
to
seen him
Axe?
call with 8 deuce, so I mean, I don't understand. Ace 5 is a monster for, isn't it? In this case.
8-4-3, a couple spades.
Well, Ace Queen's not going to call. We're going to see this.
Well, wait a minute. No, Kevin folded, but Ace Queen is going to call. No, he's going to raise.
Wow.
He's going to raise
Well,
Jesus.
that's a strong play. He doesn't believe Jesus. He just doesn't believe him at all. And he is going to raise it up here.
And Jesus is out of there.
Well, you know, maybe Scott's been paying attention because the few hands where Jesus had a pretty big hand, he's either played them pretty slow or he's check raised. And every time he's bet out, he's had pretty much nothing.
So the point I was going to bring up is, did you ever see that commercial? I don't remember what it was for, where the wife comes in and says, "Does this dress make me look fat?" And the guy's like looking down at something. He says, "You betcha." And then she turns and walks away all pissed off. You didn't see that?
I don't remember that one.
Yeah. Oh, it was like a Southwest commercial. Want to get away? You know, same thing when like the lady walks into the men's bathroom by accident.
I got you. Yeah.
Kind of a good little ring of commercials there.
Oh, no, the Southwest is actually a good commercial.
Yeah.
I like their football spots. You know, ready for football season?
Yeah.
It must be football season, that one. I like those. Yeah, I Ray's pointing out the one where the girl bends over. I always like the one where the girl bends over.
5-way action here. Well, seat number 6, he's got Queen 5 here. He looks like he checked it from up front. Queen, Queen, Deuce. Trip Queens here on board. Turns a 9. Well, Jennifer now has Ace 9, and Queen 5 checked again, so Jennifer's going to bet. She's going to bet with Ace 9. She bets 20. And let's see what Kevin's going to do here with Queen 5. He's just going to call. Is he going to try to check raise her on the river?
We'll see. If a 5 comes, he might.
Well, the river's a 6. And now he's going to come out and bet. And and Jennifer calls. It almost screams like maybe a missed diamond draw. What a bizarre way.
It's either a missed diamond draw in this game. It's a queen, you know, the way the players play.
Or like a flop monster like Queen Deuce.
Exactly.
Again, you know, you talk about Queen 5 is not a flop monster, but to some people in this game, in their eyes, it is the monster. It is the nut hand, even though it's not really. It's not close to the nuts, but.
Hello.
Yeah.
Now, that's one of the things in this book. They talk about the No Limit Hold'em Theory and Practice book by Sklansky and Miller. One thing they talk about is the best players, and we see it all the time. Yeah. Good players make big pots with their big hands.
Right, right.
Good players keep pots small when their hands are small.
When their marginal hands.
And we see weaker players
right.
making pots too big with small hands all the time. And we point out that problem all the time. One of the huge things about No Limit Hold'em, one of the huge skills that you have to master is pot control.
Right.
Rarely will you see an excellent player in a big pot without a big hand.
Right.
You just don't see it. They're either out of it or they've got the best of it.
Yeah, usually when we talk about a big hand is not one pair. With the, exception occasionally when you can put a specific player on a specific hand because of the pre-flop action, meaning you have aces, it's a rag board, and they have kings. Something like that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
If you get something along the lines of pre-flop action is raise, re-raise, re-raise. Okay, I'm going to smooth call up my aces.
Yeah.
Okay, now the flop comes out 6 high. A pocket aces is a monster in that case.
Oh, mine is way more impressive, but I've been up for about 4 more hours.
One of the most, I saw an interesting hand last week, Dave, between two good players where the pre-flop action screamed of two players having huge hands, probably aces, kings, maybe queens. And there was a queen on board by the end. I think it was either on the flop or on the turn. And the guy out of position continued to just check and call. And the guy in position had aces, and he knew pretty much that the other guy had aces also, and he got him off the hand.
Wow.
Yeah, like that.
That's amazing.
Pretty much, he knew he dn't have a set of queens, and he didn't think he had kings either, because he didn't think he would stick in there with kings.
And he got somebody off of aces?
Yeah, the same hand.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Must have been a pretty tight player to get off aces.
Limped around her.
$20 to the flop. Here it is. Queen 6-3, couple of diamonds. Now, seat number 1, Scott's got the Queen 10. He has Queen 10. Now, seat 5, though, our resident doctor there, Mark, he's got a flush draw. It is a dry flush draw. There they are, 10-4. Over and out diamonds. And how does he want to play this? He looks like he's going to raise it up with his flush draw. Now, he's got a pretty tight image at this table. I'm not sure if Scott's going to get involved with a weak queen. Now, remember, Scott's got Queen 10. He has top pair with a 10 kicker. There it is. Good work by Isaac. We do apologize for Ronnie. Apparently, he's hit the bottle tonight. I wish we had a little Ronnie graphics with, like birds flying over his head. And amazingly, Scott is going to call with the queen here. Wow. And I got to tell you, if I have 10-4 diamonds, I am going to continue. I am going to bet this. I'm going to represent the ace. Now, there's the diamond.
But it gets checked on the turn, and there's the diamond now.
Yeah. Now, fortunately, for Mark, he's gotten there. Now it's time for value bet. But can you get called by anything? Remember, Queen 10 is pretty ugly right now on that board, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can beat nothing.
Got to throw a bet out.
And it sure throws it away. Now, one of the reasons I probably bet the turn, I've shown some strength. Well, now my opponent can't beat a real queen. My opponent also can't beat the nut flush draw. If I raise to, say, ace 9 of diamonds, something like that, well, my ace just hit. And you can take it down.
You that with a smile.
You know that's me.
You didn't say straddle what?
I got the nut flush on the chase.
I know. Off camera, she tell me where I can go. On camera, she's all nice.
Oh,
We get a small little bump up raise here. Actually, it's a straddled pot. Not much out there. I'm trying to think to see what's out here. Once again, we are still dark with the cards. Do apologize for that. Apparently, when it
it wasn't actually that.
what is that saying I'm looking for? Thank you. When it rains, it pours. This went dry there for a second. And we're going to see this 5 ways straddled around. So it's a $60 pot, 8-5-4. And look at that. The cards are back just in time for a pretty uneventful hand. Jesus is going to bet here. He's got a gut shot straight draw with the overcard. Scott's going to call. Kevin is going to call. And the pot is now $200, 3 ways. Turn is a king, and Jesus has now made his pair of kings. And you imagine he's going to bet again. Why not? No reason for anybody to put him on a king But he now has the best hand, and he has everybody drawing pretty slim here. Kevin is actually drawing dead with the 9-10. He can catch no card to win this pot. Now Scott can catch a 5, a 6. No, I'm sorry, the 6 is no good. A 5 or a 7 to win this pot. Obviously, if a 6 were to come out, Jesus would have a straight, and Scott's going to throw it away, and Jesus takes it down. And he shows the 7.
I have a 6 for you.
The river would have been a 6, and Jesus actually would have made the straight. Scott would have made 2 pair. That might have been interesting. Who knows what would have happened? Once again, I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen, back from Vegas. Always fun to do the show together. If you have any questions, concerns, email us at live@thebike.com. Do apologize for any of the technical concerns you might have. Do promise we will take care of them. We always do. Be patient with us. We currently have our best 24 men working on the problem. Four ways, $20 pot. Flop comes out 8-7-4. 6-5 would be pretty good right now, but Jennifer's got top and she got bottom 2 pair. And she's going to bet right into the board there. And I think she said, okay, I'll listen to Bart. And she bets her bottom 2 pair, and it gets called in 2 spots. And the funny thing is, Bart actually probably would be an advocate for check raising in that spot because his hand is so vulnerable. Now the 8 comes out and completely destroys her hand. Jesus and Chris both have trip 8s here. Look at this, and Chris has him out kicked this time. Well, I guess what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
What exactly is a gander, anyways?
I have no idea. No clue.
Get that Seinfeld reference. All right, here we go to the river. River is a king.
And the jack is going to play. Both players have trip 8s.
And Jesus checked at the end. And a $100 bet here.
And is Jesus going to move all in? Does he think he has the absolute nuts here?
Well, that's the question we're asking.
That's the question here. I mean,
yep, and he's going to move all in.
And does Chris think he's screwed again now with trip 8s? Does he think he is screwed? I mean, does he think that maybe Jesus has 6-5? I think the pot is too big, though. I don't think Chris can get away from it. I really don't. And this is what you're talking about. Now, earlier we said, what can he beat with ace-10? You got to realize that Jesus doesn't quite understand the value of these hands.
Yeah.
And this time he's going to call, and this time he's going to double up. The jack is going to play. You know, and oftentimes we can see that last hand. Remember that hand at the ace-10? You go, well, how can you call this? There's nothing you can beat. You got to realize that Jesus often will overvalue just trip aces, or in this case, trip 8s.
Yep.
You know, and after seeing this play, you probably got to think that calling with ace-10 was probably correct as well. And finally, something goes Chris's way, and he doubles up. He's got over $1,000 now.
So we got about an hour left in the show. As always, you can watch this show on the archives. And I'm not exactly sure if people are watching this that aren't subscribed to the archives, but if you're not subscribed to the archives, you can click on the on-demand banner in the upper left-hand corner of the screen.
Yeah, you know, it was funny. I actually was at, my mother is not an archive subscriber, believe it or not.
Either is mine, actually.
But she asked me, she said, you know what, if I've got to pay for it, I want to see you and I want to watch the show. How do I subscribe? How do you subscribe again?
Upper left-hand corner of your screen,
okay.
On-demand banner. But again, I have a feeling that the people that are watching this right now are already archive subscribers. Not 100% positive.
Okay.
As we kind of work through the kinks of the first couple of days of kind of a pay-per-view deal. Jesus is going to raise it up here with pocket 4s. And he's going to take it down. Liz also called me out on the fact that she somehow knew from somewhere, I don't know, that I had her screensaver up here, and then I actually changed it the night of.
Okay.
Because she came up here and she said, this isn't the same screensaver that you usually have on here, is it?
Right.
And I said, no.
Is she aware of the fact that she actually wasn't up there?
Oh, that's right, because that's the one in my house that's up there. Oh, that's right.
Right, we used to have Liz Blue on the
Liz,
screensaver,
yeah.
but instead we had somebody sent some porn to us.
Right.
And we had that up there.
Yeah. Some different Asian girl.
Some other, exactly.
Yeah.
Some anonymous Asian girl with some really large breasts.
Yeah.
I like the word breasts, don't you? Breasts. Breastises. I love that.
The lovely Ben is in the poker box here, dealing. 5-way action here.
King 10 deuce rainbow. Couple of kings out there. Kevin's got the 10. Nobody's got a real king, though, and you wonder how much heat anybody's going to take with that hand. Let's see. Well, Kevin's going to put some money in the pot, and look, Chris immediately throws it away. Well, Chris had ace-4, I'm sorry. Alan's going to call with king 8, though, and is that going to get Randy out? No, Randy's going to call with king 3, and how do you like your queen 10 now if you're Kevin? Pot is quickly $80. Turn is a 7 of diamonds, changes nothing at all. Alan's 8 will still play here. Remember, it's your best 5 cards and hold them. But Kevin is going to continue to bet this. Unbelievable. And that's going to get Alan out. I mean, Randy called behind. And what is Randy going to do here? Well, Randy's going to... Looks like he's going to call this.
God, this man know everything.
Wait,
I play professional dodgeball, so
no, that's not it.
River is an ace here.
That's not where I know.
Yeah.
And is Randy now betting? Did he put out like a little blockish bet there? Talk about a little blockish bet here. He check calls, and then on the river, he puts out a $60 bet.
Yeah.
Kind of a little, I'm going to name my price bet here. And Kevin's really put in a spot here because you wonder, what can I call with? Was this guy calling me with Queen Jack the entire way? Well, if he called you with Queen Jack and he only bet 60 at the end, the only problem now with calling with Queen 10, you can beat nothing with it, right?
And Randy's going to win it there with the king.
And he wins himself about a $250 pot.
Yeah.
He's one that drives the ice cream truck. This sort called a big car.
So nice little pot there for Randy. But moves over here to Alan in seat number 2. And of course, Alan is kind of like the Rock of Gibraltar over there. Plays really tight, doesn't play many hands. Jennifer kind of the same style over there in seat 9, just kind of waiting and waiting and waiting. And Alan's got that he's got that Jordan hat on as well. We got 2 people with the Jordan hats on the show. Limp here.
You guys are having a good time here.
Yep.
It's one thing you always got to remember when they're playing poker. A lot of times we're very critical of the players, and the people at home are very critical. They watch the players, and they're going, what is going on here? These guys are terrible. You got to realize that most of the players, the majority of the players that come in, are recreational players. They're playing for fun. They're here to have a good time.
Oh, Jesus is going to raise here to 60 with ace-10 of diamonds. Quick call here by Kevin with an ace-4. He's dominated.
Apparently we have a new assistant on the floor.
I only won 500 from you. That's it. That's it.
Right, as we had just panned over to her about 15 minutes ago.
But she actually spoke.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. I mean, it's the first time we actually heard her say something.
And we get an overcall here from Chris with King Jack, so 3 ways here. Queen 10-3. Well, Jesus has got the best hand. Now, Chris is open-ended.
Oh, I love Chris's hand here. Now, this is a perfect situation. Okay, I'm going to say this. Against a lot of players, against a player where I want them to fold, against a tight player like a Jen or a Dr. BB, I might raise with King Jack. But against Jesus, I'm only going to smooth call because I want to hit my hand. And if the ace were to come off, talk about the implied odds you're going to get. Jesus will have top and bottom pair, and you will make the nuts.
Another $100 bet and another $100 call. This pot is $500. The best card for Chris would be an ace here.
Oh, an ace would just be golden, wouldn't it?
$500 pot to the river. Oh, the river's a blank.
And I don't mind that. You know what? No wrong. You throw it away. Now, a lot of times people can say, well, I thought you always say you like to raise with your draws. Not against a player where the fold equity is not there. In this case, I actually want Jesus to have ace-queen.
Yeah, you just want to keep calling and calling.
I want to make, as long as I have enough money behind where if I hit my hand, there's huge implied odds. That's the kind of hand I want against him.
Right.
It's okay. It's okay.
Those are the kind of hands you're looking for against a player like that, where you can hit the nuts. He'll have 2 pair and he can't get away from it, and you end up winning $1,000 for only a $100 call. You know, unfortunately, Chris just didn't hit that one. The difference between basically a really, really big night, you know, and just an okay night. If Chris hits the 10, if the ace comes off there, Chris has probably suddenly got about $2,000 in front of him.
Oh, thank you. I know better.
The only line at the table when things are getting heated to save my ass before I run is like, hey, let's not scream, just do this here.
Once again, if you have any questions for us, you can always email us at live@thebike.com. If you want to just say hi.
Oh, deuce 3-4 here, a couple spades, and look at Chris. He's flopping nuts straight.
Yeah.
And Jesus is going to come out and bet here. He's going to bet 20. We can't quite see what he has over there.
Well, when you get a call and a call, I think it's an easy raise for Chris here with 2 spades out there. I think you have to raise. You also want somebody to be calling you with a 5.
I'm gambling.
Well, did Kevin raise it? Because he put a $100 chip in there. No, it looked like, you're right, it looked like Chris raised. I couldn't quite, well, let's see here.
Yeah, it was. It was a call. Right?
No, I think Kevin raised, Dave, and Chris just called. I think Kevin might have moved all in. I think he was all in. Yeah, he doesn't.
I don't like
Well, I get.
Yeah, and they're going to actually check it down here. And Chris is going to take it down here.
Yeah, it actually went bet raise. Chris called. And then once they called and they got a heads up, they checked it down, which again sometimes might irritate some of the other players at the table, even though I don't think they are colluding. It is almost kind of a thing of squeezing.
Of course it is, yeah. I don't really understand it. Now, Chris, apparently Kevin had a $100 chip in front of him, so I'm not quite sure why you do that.
Yep. Button moves over here to seat number 4.
So apparently you are going on Saturday to Vegas to play in the Omaha event, the $3,000 event.
Yes, I am.
But you are going to be here to the show tomorrow night, so you and I will be here for Double Fist Friday, which always kind of gets me excited.
Yes, sir.
Nothing gets me as tingly as Double Fist Friday. Well, nothing as much as, say, Kelsey.
Lived around here 5 ways, 8-7 deuce rainbow on the flop. And a little $25 raise here by Kevin, or a bet here by Kevin with a pair of 7s. Right from up front, and I think that's probably going to do it here. It doesn't look like anybody has much. You know, is Mark a nurse in seat 5?
Is he a nurse?
Is he? I don't know. I mean, isn't that like a nurse's scrub? Is he a doctor? I don't know.
Of course he's a doctor. He's a man. Can't be a nurse. There, I offended somebody. I know I did. I know I offended somebody.
There are male nurses. Jeez.
I know. I was just saying it to offend.
He is a nurse, right? Is he a nurse? No, because he has a necklace that has like a tooth on it.
Really?
Yeah. So I thought maybe it had something to do with like a dentist or something like that. Do you see that? Yeah, right there.
Well, maybe we can get somebody to ask him. Apparently he's in sales, medical sales.
He's in medical sales, but he's wearing scrubs. That makes sense.
Okay. Well, he's still got to go into the hospital.
So you have to wear scrubs while
I
you're
just
selling
think he
stuff
wants
in
to
the
look
hospital.
cool.
Okay, well, that makes
You know what I mean? I
sense.
think he went there and he's like, oh, those scrubs look cool. Can I get some? I used to have a friend that was actually a doctor, and I like them. They're really comfortable. So I got myself a pair of scrubs, but I've since worn them out. I need another pair. Maybe he'll get me one.
Yep. And Mark is going to pop up a raise here with an ace-jack offsuit. Got to take it down without a flop.
Without a flop.
Button moves over here to seat 6. Jennifer's got pocket 9. She just limps in from up front, Dave. Just kind of a limp. We've got pocket 10. And look at this. Jesus has got jacks, and we got pocket 10s over here for seat 7. Oh, wow.
And we haven't heard much from Roger all night long. He's got 10s. What's he going to do here?
Well, it's actually Chris there with the 10s. And Chris is going to, is he just going to call him Jesus? Looks like just a call.
Oh, that'll bring in Jennifer.
Yep.
She's going to smooth call as well. And we're going to see this, it looks like 4 ways.
Well, is Randy going to overcall here with the king 8
That's going to bring him in, yeah. That's definitely going to bring him in. We're seeing it 4 ways. Pot is about $120. And here's the flop. There it is, 9-8-4.
Jennifer's got top set, and 2 people have an overpair.
Uh-oh.
And look at this. Now, Chris is going to come out and bet here. Can Jennifer triple up this hand? Can she triple up against these 2 guys?
I got to tell you, she might be able to only because Chris has already bet a little bit.
If Jennifer pushes in, Jesus isn't going anywhere, and I think Chris is going to call.
The problem is, though, is if she raises and then Jesus re-raises, what do you do with 10s? I mean, you can't beat anything.
She raises. She's going to move all in, and let's see if Jesus moves all in.
Now, if Jesus moves all in and Chris calls, Chris is going to lose the side pot to Jesus. Remember, both players have Jennifer well covered. Jennifer only had about $400 left here.
I mean, this would be a hell of a laydown for Jesus here.
Well, there's not much he can beat here.
And look at this. He's going to lay it down. I love it, Dave. Is he going to make the laydown?
Well, I mean, he can beat 10s and only 10s, and he throws it away. That's a great laydown.
You know, it's funny, we talk about how we don't like to slow play, but Jennifer has such a tight image that it might even have been correct for her just to call here. She might have stayed away from the competition.
I think she's going to get one call, though. I don't know if Chris can lay this down. I really don't.
Well, it's only I think it's probably $250 more for him to call, and the pot is going to be somewhere around $700.
Yeah,
something like that.
I mean, he's getting like 3-1. Could she have, say, 10-jack, even
Ace Queen of Diamonds?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of hands she could have. I mean, she could even have 10-jack of diamonds, and in that case, she's obviously got a lot of outs. But you're getting 3-1, so you have to call. I mean, I think you probably have to call, even with Jennifer's squeaky tight image. She just doesn't have enough money. Now, let's say Jennifer had 500 or 600. I think in that case, you could probably lay it down, putting her possibly on a set or an overpair.
Well, he does call, and Jennifer's in real good shape here.
Well,
nobody has a diamond. And she makes quads at the end. Quad 9s is good.
Yeah, that's probably good for at least half the pot.
Yeah, right.
And this is what we're talking about. You don't have to play a lot of hands in no limit hold'em to win.
Right.
We see this. Jennifer's played maybe 2 hands the entire night. Yet she sits and she bides her time. Finally, she doubles through. And by the end of the night, she's going to be up about $400 or $500. And it's a nice laydown there by Jesus there. Not much Chris could do with the 10s. Probably pot committed.
Only quads, huh?
Hey, when I play a hand.
I think I would have had a straight flush on there.
How come you didn't play for that guy?
Huh?
I didn't put you on top set. I said
Button moves over here to seat number 7.
You should still be better than that.
oh, I know when she bets, she's not gonna bet with nothing. So I follow my job.
Until the last hour. Actually, this is the last hour, so that is confusing.
Seat 6 here, Jesus, seat 6, Kevin's going to raise it up here to 20 with Ace Queen of Diamonds. I'm going to get a call here by Allen. Well, he's in bad shape. He's got diamonds as well. Wow, we get 3 people with diamonds here. This always excites me because we've never seen 3 flop flushes on this show.
This could be it, huh?
Yeah. Never seen it. I actually played in a game where it happened twice in a 3-hour period a couple weeks ago. Here we go.
And it's not going to happen here.
Ace 8-5. Now, Kevin's the pre-flop raiser, so he's hit the ace.
Pretty straightforward. I mean, nobody else has got much of anything. Randy's got a gut shot straight draw. Mark's got bottom pair. I mean, this is pretty much straightforward. I'm going to bet, and everybody's going to fold.
Yeah, he's going to bet 50 here.
And he bets a weak bet, and I don't mind that he's only got about $90 behind. Maybe you get called by somebody with a weak ace. I mean, I think if somebody had something, they're going to call you anyway.
Yeah, you can almost maneuver that pot, like if you have 100 left and 100 in the pot. If you move all in, somebody with ace 9 might not call you, but if you bet 50, they might call, and now you can move all in later on. Right?
I got to tell you, if I only have $90 there, and the pot is already, say, 90, flops ace 8-5, I might even take the chance of checking the flop.
Right.
In position.
Because, again, we talk about when you're short stacked, it is sometimes correct to kind of play it tricky and backwards in order to extract the most amount of money, because you don't need to build a pot up like you normally do in a deep stack.
Yeah, and I'm not risking that much. If somehow somebody gets
spikes
lucky,
2-pair,
if somebody has 5 deuce and they get lucky enough to spike a deuce, okay, I'm willing to take that risk. But you got to remember now,
because you might induce somebody to come out and bet on the turn.
I might even get, where I wouldn't get called by a 5 or an 8 before, maybe I do get called now by, say, 9-8, something like that, because they think I'm weak.
Especially if it gets checked you around again on the turn and you bet now on the turn.
Yeah, exactly. They go, wait a second, you're not going to check an ace.
Yeah. Interesting question here by Breakaway 7. We'll get to it in a second on the thread. Limped around here 5 ways. Actually, there's a $20 raise there by seat 7, so it's a $100 pot. Chris has raised it with ace-jack, and he's hit top pair. And Mark is just going to come out and lead here, Dave, with 7-10. I've seen Mark do this before. He's calling on a position with 7-10 off suit. And then when you hit this flop, well, I guess he's going to take a shot at it. He's going to get raised, so I guess it's an easy laydown. I mean, call me passive, but I have more of a tendency to check fold if I'm in there with maybe a hand like 10-7 suited. I don't, it's just, there's 6 people in the hand.
Well, there's 2 ways to play it. I mean, I don't mind necessarily. I never want to fault somebody for necessarily betting. It's definitely worse to check call with that hand, but...
Let me guess, you all see this one too?
Nobody call him.
Oh, okay.
Once I'm on the table and I want to see that type of thing, I have the right to say.
The intent of the rule is a collusion rule, but people just...
Button moves over here to seat number 9.
But in that case, I do have the right to steal.
Oh, you have a right. I'm just saying the intent is more collusion than a CW. Oh, I guess you're right. Let's see it on TV.
Jennifer Bankston over here with seat number 9. She's got the button 7-6 offsuit.
Get Ronnie in there in the background. He's getting us a little card counter. He's going to give us the chips in a second.
Limped around 5 ways. King, Queen, 5 with a couple of hearts.
And we've got a lot of money on this table for a 500 game. I mean, a lot of money for a 3-5 game.
Checked around on the flop, turns a 9.
Nobody's got hearts, by the way. This was a 3rd heart out there. And I want to say the best hand right now is Chris with 9-10.
Well, Mark's just going to make a little play at it here, Dave. He's going to bet out with ace-7. Chris is going to call.
And to the river, pot $60. Well, that's a 3rd heart. I got to tell you, if you are Mark, well, he's going to check it down now, hope that his ace is good.
And now Chris is going to come out and bet, probably knowing that his 9 is not good.
Right. And he's going to, he's going to represent. He's going to say, maybe this guy doesn't have a heart, or maybe he has a small heart. Maybe I can get him off, say, like, maybe I can get him off a king or a queen without a heart, or maybe I can get him off, say, the 7 of hearts, something like that. And he bets $75. That's a nice bet. He's not kind of pussying around there.
Yeah.
He puts in a nice bet. Strong.
Did Mark make the call there? Mark made the call with the pair of aces.
Wow, that's a hell of a call.
Yeah, that's an unbelievable call. I'm not exactly sure.
Well, I mean,
he was trying to bluff and he backed into a pair.
Yeah, I'm gonna just to play devil's advocate with you. Oftentimes, you won't see players betting anything but the jack or the queen of hearts here.
Right.
And the only thing you're wondering though is it possible
maybe
that
jack, queen, or 10?
Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But he probably wouldn't bet a smaller hand than that unless it's a bluff. So you might start thinking, well, what is this guy betting?
Right. He probably wouldn't bet 2 pair at the end.
Probably not, exactly.
Yeah.
He's either betting a high heart or probably nothing at all. And I guess he figured, hey, this guy could have nothing at all just as often.
Let's take a look at a chip count here. I think it's the first of the night.
Wow, almost $7,000
on the table, yeah.
That's a lot of money for this game. Jesus has got the most money at the table. He's got them all covered. Let's see how they're doing.
Yeah.
Wow, Jesus is up $1,000. Jennifer up $430. I mean, talk about it. She hasn't played a hand all night, really, yet she's up $430. Unbelievable. And our big loser of the night actually has already gotten up and left. So
now Jesus brought this one in for a raise with ace-king. Mark is going to re-raise here with pocket jacks. And look at that. Jennifer gets away from pocket eights. Randy folds sevens, but Jesus calls. And do these two bet against each other? Because I haven't been all night. Here we go. Well, there's the ace. Jesus checks, Mark checks. And again, when you get two guys that don't bet against each other, it does somewhat inherently, you know, if I was on the table and there was a bet and then a raise, you wonder, I mean, obviously we know that Mark and Jesus aren't colluding, but when a guy that comes into, like, say, an environment, has traveled here from Florida, comes to the bike and doesn't know these players, doesn't it look a little strange?
Yeah, we really got to put a stop to that. You know, according to the Live at the Bike rules, there is no soft playing, and it's one thing that I'm going to do my best to really stop. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. I just don't. I mean, I think it's terrible for the game. It's terrible to watch. And there it is. Soft playing is not allowed and will be addressed immediately. Unfortunately for us, Donna is on vacation, and she'd probably be taking care of that right now. But we're a little short-staffed right now, so we will take care of that as soon as we can. Button is over in seat number 2. Flop is ace 8-3 rainbow. Trying to get a shot of what Scott has there. It looks like Scott has 9-10. He doesn't have much of anything, but he bluffed at it. Or he actually has pocket tens. I'm sorry. And he took a shot at it. Jesus called him with 3 deuce. And he has made trip threes on the river. He makes a unbelievable. And now he's going to bet. And Scott can't be a 3, can't beat an ace.
Yeah, he's not going to. Again, you know, sometimes Jesus jumps the gun a little bit there. Well, I mean, you know, he moved all in on the river. I mean, you might be doing. You know, you wonder, though, if Scott would have called him with an ace.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, Jesus has got such an image that he might get paid off by ace king or ace queen.
Because Jesus might make that move with ace jack.
Yeah, no,
it's tough. You know, I remember a night way back when we used to do our whale game where Jesus had a great night, and he absolutely crushed Mo. This was maybe back in November when he was just hitting hands. Yeah. You know, he would re-raise with aces. Mo would call with ace-king, and it was king, rag, rag. Jesus would move all in, and now you're Mo, you got ace-king. Well, what do you do?
Right. You know, it's really tough there sometimes. You know, sometimes when you're playing against a player like Jesus or a player like Dimitri or a player like Ed, you really have to sit there and wait and wait and wait and be very patient, waiting for the right opportunity in the right hand to take it down. You know, or not even necessarily waiting for a big hand, but waiting for the right opportunity. Sometime where you flop a set or where you flop 2 pair. Because you don't really want to overcommit sometimes with just 1 pair. Even against a player who will overcommit with 1 pair. 6-5-4 there, a couple of diamonds. Now, Jesus has got bottom pair. He's open-ended, but he does not have a diamond in his hand. Now, Mark has got the top end of it. And Mark's going to call this. Now, Kevin was the original bettor with King Jack. He has absolutely nothing. And we are 3 ways here. The pot is about $120. Well, a 6 on the turn changes nothing. But can Kevin keep firing at this? And Kevin's going to take the free card.
Checked around.
The river's a 10 here, and Jesus is good with a pair of 4s.
I mean, he's going to come out and bet it here. He's going to come out. I mean, that is normally a hand that you might check call if you can figure out for some reason if both people are on draws. You know, if you check, if you're in there with 3-4, obviously I don't know how you'd stay in there, but for some reason if you are, and you check the river, and let's say, you know, the guy in the middle bets and the other guy folds, or vice versa, you know, that might be a hand where you can check call. Yeah. Unless you think you're betting somebody off of something else. Yeah.
Maybe you can get somebody up with 5 there.
Again,
you
though,
might even, in a tough game, remember the board was 6-5-4, you might even get a tough player off of 8s or 9s, thinking, oh, God, this guy made trip 6s here, and was he going to check raise the turn?
Again, though, I don't necessarily know if that's going through the players' heads here.
I can guarantee you it's not.
Yeah.
But obviously we're going to do our best to point out what should be going through your heads.
Yeah.
Once again, our mini-series of poker going on right now. Our weekday tournaments start at 7:15 p.m. You can check those out.
4-way action here. Times 2.
Oh, wow.
Around
look at this here. Full house for Randy.
Yep, bottom's full here. Jack, Jack 4 on the flop. Well, nobody has a jack here, though, Dave. It does not look Well, wait a minute. Is Jesus got a jack over there? I can't quite tell. We don't have it up. He does have a jack.
He does.
Jesus does have a jack, and he's going to get into trouble. He is going to get into trouble. And Allen is just taking a little shot at it.
And
there.
I can't see what his kicker is, though. It's a jack 6.
Allen bets. Randy is just going to call, and Jesus is going to just call as well. So Allen just took a little shot at it, and both Jesus and Randy think they're slow playing.
Now, Randy's hand is vulnerable here. If a 6 were to come off, or now, if a queen were to come off,
right,
a 6 were to come off, or a jack comes off, you are in really, really bad shape.
And look at this. It gets checked to Jesus. He bets 150. Allen quickly folds. And is Randy going to check raise here?
I mean, I think you have to, don't you?
And again, we're going to these cards are going to be up on the screen again as we're kind of
remember
going
he's
with
out
the
of
cards.
position. He's out of position. So what are you going to do? Check, call, and then bet on the river?
It looks like he is going to check call.
I mean, now you got to be a little scared though. Remember, Queen Jack is. What kind of kicker would somebody have if they had a jack? Queen is definitely a holding that he could have.
The $500 pot. Looks like, I don't know how much
Oh,
Randy has
man.
left. And now the river's a 10, and now pocket fours just gets worse and worse.
Yeah, I mean, now you can really only beat. If you start thinking of the hands this guy would have on the button, and remember, it's Jesus. He could have anything.
And now he moves all in, and Jesus instantly calls, but the jack is no good.
Right. And the full house 4s full of jacks is going to take it down. Beat trip jacks.
The turn was the queen of diamonds, and the river was the 10 of clubs. But as David and I said, it just gets worse and worse if you put somebody on a jack with what they play as a kicker card with the jack.
If you look at that turn and kicker, the turn in the river, if you have pocket 4s there, and you're deep stack poker, let's say you're 5,000 deep, your opponent's 5,000 deep. I got to tell you, with pocket 4s, I am now in really defensive mode, and I am trying to keep that pot as small as possible. Because you've got to realize, against a good player, let's say he has king jack, he knows that his jack is vulnerable.
Oh, yeah.
Because he can't beat what likely holding you might have, which is jack 10 or queen jack. So you've got to realize, against a good player, you are not going to get paid off with trip jacks. And against a bad player who has a full house, you're in a lot of trouble.
You know, it's funny. I was looking at my email earlier today, and I got an email from Party Poker saying, "Party backgammon is now a reality." They've opened it up. A lot of people made the transition between backgammon from backgammon to poker. I never played backgammon. Are you a backgammon player?
I'm not a backgammon player, but I really enjoy the game. I'm not a player per se, but I know how to play, and I play it.
And it's more of a mathematical game?
Oh, it's a very mathematical game.
Is it really?
It's there's a transition there. It's a very strategy-oriented game and mathematical game. It's not really a game of luck at all, backgammon. I mean, obviously there is some luck involved, but if you were to play a world-class backgammon player 10 times, you would lose easily 9 out of 10 times.
Well, but not quite as skillful as chess, where you would lose 10 out of 10 times. Now, Jesus is going to raise with King 7, and it looked like Kevin moved all in with 7-9, and Jesus called. Jesus is in great shape. He's got Kevin dominated. Jesus is going to win this one with, he's got to compare kings. It would have been king high.
Yeah, he would have won with king high, though.
Yeah.
You're right. Kevin needed a 9 and only a 9 there.
Now, supposedly, I'm no expert on backgammon, but what I heard is that backgammon can't be played for money through the computer versus somebody else on the internet, because of the fact that it's either you can use computer-aided programs to help you, or I think a human can't beat a computer in backgammon. Is that what it is? I'm not exactly sure.
I would imagine there would be computer-aided. There's a lot of strategy in backgammon. I can't imagine.
But there is some reason why they said that online backgammon kind of ruined the game like 5 years ago. You can't really play it online at the highest levels.
I'm not, like I said, I'm not a backgammon expert, but I would imagine the best backgammon players would beat a computer in backgammon. I would imagine. I know a lot of, like, Eric Seidel, a lot of those players that came out of New York played those kind of underground backgammon games. And part of the reason they went to poker was, while there is some luck in backgammon, there's not as much luck as in poker, say. And if you are a world-class backgammon player, it's hard to get action.
Right.
Who's going to give you action? They know you're great, and I can't beat you.
Well, I mean, that was the same thing, supposedly, with Stu Unger and Gin Rummy, right? No one would ever beat him. But I've only played Gin Rummy a couple of times. Is Gin Rummy less luck than poker?
Oh, not even close.
Oh, really?
Much less luck, Gin Rummy, and once again, if you were to play a world-class gin player, you played them, say, 10 times, you'd be lucky if you won maybe 20% of the time. While if you played a world-class poker player,
right, like a heads-up limit match,
a heads-up limit match. I mean, I don't care if you're playing the best limit player in the world. If you have a basis for the rules and you know how to play, you could probably win
40% of the time,
maybe 33% of the time, even. I mean,
Get a raise here by Kevin on the button, kind of a $20 raise with ace, queen of clubs. Dave, I mean, we've seen so many multi-way pots here. 6-way action, $120 pot. Here we go. Well, club draw and overcards here for the pre-flop raiser. Queen 5-5.
Now, Mark's got top pair, but is that really the flop you're looking for with 9-6 of hearts? I say no.
Well, he's going to fire out at it, just kind of like he fired with 10-7.
Well, he's in the cutoff seat. This is a little different. I don't mind this.
Now, the problem here, though, is that, okay, now here's the problem. Mark bets, but with 6-way action, you know, if you were heads up, I don't mind the raise here by Kevin, represent an overpair, but you've got 5 people that might be sandbagging a 5 in front of you. I don't know if I would raise with ace, queen of clubs there, with 4 or 5 people in there.
You can usually safely just call that.
And Mark called anyways. You raised and Mark called.
Unbelievable.
The
Really
turn's
is.
a deuce. And now I got to think that Mark might have a 5. Maybe you take the card here and it goes
And he
check,
did.
check, and the river's a 3.
And Mark's going to bet the river. How do you bet the river?
Oh my good God, are you shitting?
I mean, you got to start thinking about betting this river here if you want to leave the flop out there.
Yeah.
Okay, you bet the turn, you bet the flop, you get raised, and you call. Now, if you're going to bet ever, you bet the turn. If you put your opponent on a club draw, you bet the turn.
Don't give him a free card.
Right. Now, once he checks behind you on the turn, how do you bet the river? What can you get called by? I mean, is there any value whatsoever betting that river? I mean, can you think of one value there?
No, this is the time to either check and induce a bluff, or just check and hope it gets checked down if he's got a higher overpair or
Right.
something like that.
Well, you're not going to get 9-8 off the hand. You're not going to get any. You're not going to get a bigger 9. You're not going to get a 5. I mean,
And
I
the
just
weird
don't
thing
understand.
about Mark is, you know,
Thank you.
he commonly will make mistakes, but again, he's a player that might actually bet out on trips, especially if he's in the cutoff. I've seen him do it before. He's not going to give everybody a free ride.
No, of course.
So when I raise him, I think he probably does have a 5.
Yeah, and you know, it's the
Yeah.
funny thing is, I always say there is value to not showing down your hand, but in that one case where I have a hand as weak as 9-6, I got to tell you, I am hoping to God that I can check and induce a bluff on missed clubs, or just check it down and take it down with a pair of 9s.
Yes, I know that. It's called limit hold'em.
I mean, unless you're betting there to block a bluff bet, but why do you really want to block a bluff bet?
Right.
I mean, I think also part of the reason poker can be played by professionals, and professionals can still get action, and I'll get to it in a second after this hand. 8-3-3, rainbow. Nobody's got an 8, nobody's got a 3. It's a nice board to bluff into, and Alan's going to bluff into it. It's a really nice spot to bluff. You got to remember, if you are called at all on this kind of board, you know where you're at. There's really no straight draw out there. There's no flush draw out there. And sure enough, Alan takes it down. Somebody calls him. He knows. Okay.
Well, this is even a time, too. Actually, I remember this was an exact board I had last night playing in a game where I had raised it up with ace-jack suited on the button. I think there was 3 people in there. The pot was 250. The flop came 8-3-3. I can bet as little as like 125 into that pot and pretty much almost get the same information. Unless you're against a savvy player that might know what you're doing with that. But at the same time, I might make that same bet with aces there to 125 or an overpair. I'm not really scared of anything.
Definitely.
And if the guy calls me, I'm probably going to be forced to check the turn just to keep the pot a little small with an 8. But
Yeah, you got to realize
No.
you don't have to keep your information always the same. You don't have to
Right.
keep your bets always the same. If you just mix it up once in a while,
Yeah.
it's enough usually to
But I'm
confuse your
just
better
saying,
opponents.
bringing up on that specific board, you don't need to make a pot-sized bet on that board, especially if you don't have anything.
Definitely not.
Half pot-sized bet will probably get it done
Yeah,
if
100%.
you just want to take it down.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Linked around here 4 ways. It's a $20 pot.
Yeah, everybody's got pretty much crap there. Jack 10-6. And I want to say the best they have. Well, Chris has got top pair. And you imagine he's going to bet this now. Actually, Jesus is going to bet the King 6. He has bottom pair, and Chris is just going to call it. And we are heads up here. Pot is $100. Turn is an ace, and Jesus is going to continue to bet here. And is Chris going to stick around?
Well, Chris now, I mean, he's picked up a straight draw, and
but
he's
now-
going to continue to call.
Yeah, well, he can't beat King Queen if King Queen got there. Now Jesus needs a queen or a 6 here. A king is no good.
It's about a $450 pot coming to the river. Here we go. And what is Jesus going to do? Well, the river is an ace. That might make Chris continue to call even more.
I think for sure. I mean, I got to tell you, if the guy has the nut flush draw, which is the only card you're really worried about, that's the one you're scared of, right? I'm going to probably pay him off. Remember, it's Jesus. And he's betting $220 into this pot.
I'd be shocked if Chris folds here.
I really would, too. Now, the nut flush draw is really what you're scared of. You're scared of this guy was betting on, like, ace-5 of clubs and made runner trips, which is highly possible because the ace of clubs did not come out.
He bet $250 at the end, which means it's a $700 pot, $250 for Chris to call.
So he's getting almost 3-1 on his money, which means Jesus only has to be bluffing, say, 1 out of 4 times to make this profitable, right?
Remember, what does Jesus usually do with a monster like trip aces? He probably would move in at the end. I mean, that's kind of what we've seen.
Yeah, he usually overbets his big hands here.
Yeah.
Tough spot for Jesus, though. I mean, for Chris. Now, you got to start thinking, though, would Jesus bet King-Jack this hard? Remember, if Jesus had Jack-10, if he flopped 2 pair, you actually have him out kick with the queen, and he's going to call.
Yeah,
nice call by Chris.
And you can see kind of the roller coaster of Jesus. He was up to almost 2,000. Now he's back down to 700.
Yep, and Chris is going to take it down, and big pot there. That's about a $900 pot, $450 new that Chris is going to take down. Anyway, we talk about the debate of like backgammon versus gin versus poker. And the funny thing is that in the short term, there's obviously a lot of luck in any of these games. But I think the luck is just that much more apparent in poker. It just looks like more of a luck-filled game in poker than it does, say, in gin or backgammon. Now, obviously, there is more luck involved in poker than those other 2 games. But in the long term, I want to say that there's not much luck at all involved in poker. I mean, I think at the end of a couple of years or the end of a year, you know, the luck really evens out.
Yeah.
So, pocket queens for Roger. We haven't heard from him all night long. He's maybe played 3 or 4 hands all night. He's been waiting for something like this, and he's going to raise it up with queens. Now, is that a raise from Jesus?
Looks like that is a raise from Jesus.
Wow.
He raised to 100.
100.
Well, now, you know, if you're Roger, is this raise big enough for you to call, and you know everyone else is not going to call, and let Jesus fire into you on the flop, or are you worried that you might get scared if an overcard comes?
Well, that's definitely a way to play
I think if it's aces, I think it's an easy smooth call, right, with aces?
Yeah, and he just moves all in.
Yeah.
He moves all in with the queens, and Jesus immediately throws it away. Now, I believe that was actually a blind raise from Jesus.
Ah.
It was a blind $100 raise from Jesus. And
Well, that changes things, because now with queens, you might move all in, and a guy might call you with a hand as weak as maybe ace-queen or pocket tens, because he thinks you're doing the 3-bet isolation.
Yeah,
right?
and you never know with Jesus. I mean, he might have called with a hand like King-Jack.
Right.
It's not necessarily a terrible play.
Live straddle player, the playing through.
Get a live straddle here. Kevin's going to limp in there with ace-7 suited. Jennifer not going to play. Scott's going to toss in his 2 chips. He's going to play. Alan's going to toss in a chip. And you know what? Look at that smart play there. Randy does not complete out of the big blind. He's pretty sure Jesus is going to raise this up with any 2 cards. And sure enough, he does. Now, Jesus actually has a decent hand. He's got pocket 5s. Kevin's going to call him with ace-7 suited, though. Wow. Unbelievable. Jesus made it $200 here. And Kevin has moved all in.
Wow.
And we are going to see pretty much an $800 race.
Yeah, an $800 race. Ace-7 against pocket 5s.
Unreal. Now, Jesus made it $200 out of the straddle spot. Kevin then moved all in for about $370, and Jesus immediately called. And let's see this card run here for $800. Deuce, 3-3.
Pretty good there for Jesus so far.
Yeah.
Kevin needs an ace, a 7, or some sort of running straight. Turns a 4. Now, but the 5 is no good.
Yeah, 5 is
Jesus
no
will
good
fill
here.
up.
Exactly.
Kevin needs a 7 or an ace.
Ace no good either.
Oh, the ace would be no good either. Oh, the river's a 7, Dave. Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah. He was down to 3 outs there on the river because the ace obviously would give Jesus a straight. The 5, which gives Kevin the straight, would fill Jesus up. So Kevin needed a 7 and only a 7. And he is going to win himself about an $800 pot with a 7. And so the saga of Jesus goes.
So that was his only out there on the end, right?
Yeah, 3 outs. That's it.
Wow. Absolutely brutal. Getting word here that seat number... we talk about we get Chris Mills at the table, but seat number 6, Kevin Hart, is an actor, was in movies such as 40-Year-Old Virgin. I'm kind of doing an IMDb.
I've seen 40-Year-Old Virgin. What part did he play?
I don't know. Check it out real quick.
Oh, he was the guy arguing with the other guy. He was the black guy arguing with the other black guy in the store.
Ah.
That was a great scene. That was funny as hell. I like that. No. It was a black guy, the black guy with the black guy, and they were all trying to get like Yale.
Yeah, he's also been in movies such as Well, he's been in what is that? The TV show Barbershop. He's supposed to be in Scary Movie 4. He was in Scary Movie 3.
This guy's all over the place.
Soul Plane.
Yeah, there you go. 40-Year-Old Virgin. He was the smart tech customer.
Yeah.
That was great. He was great in that.
Been on Conan a couple of times. Jimmy Kimmel Show.
Wow. This guy's a star.
Yeah.
Betting 25.
Got a $25 bet here by Mark, the ace-8.
And you wouldn't imagine anybody could call this, but you never know at this table. Well, what do I know?
Well, Scott's going to raise with the same hand that Mark let out with here. And again, can you really continue on here with ace-8?
Now, you got to remember who is raising you here. And he's going to call.
No, he's going to re-raise with ace-8. He's going to come back over the top. Game's playing like a limit game.
Oh, you too?
And Scott's going to
And
call.
Scott immediately calls. I mean, is ace-8 the nuts here on this board?
Absolutely. Now, Mark is actually free rolling on Scott because he has diamonds.
Well, wait a minute. Scott has not called yet, it does not look like. Because there's some delay in the action. Oh, he's going to fold.
Okay, I was going to say.
Yeah, we don't have Donna out on the floor. She's on a little bit
you
of
got
a
to start
vacation.
thinking somebody can easily have 2 pair here with 8-7. Unreal, the action here. Once again, we are live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. You're watching No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 5 and 5. You can catch us every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 p.m. Pacific time.
You know, it's funny, when you were back in the day when you were in Beverly Hills 90210 or Melrose Place or whatever, did anybody ever come up to you in the street and say, oh, I recognize you from that show? I mean, I wouldn't think so, because you were kind of a bit B actor.
It started with a bean burrito at 10 a.m., so...
I'd say as a bit actor, I wouldn't say B actor.
That actually didn't come out the right way, but it's still funny.
Yeah, hilarious. Rarely, believe it or not, a few times I was recognized, but not very often.
Really? In the crowd, huh?
Yeah. It was funny, when I first moved out here, I actually did a Coca-Cola commercial. It was a rollerblading spot for Coca-Cola, and I was recognized for that more often than I was for doing little parts here and there.
Well, Jesus has raised it up here. It looks like he's got a King 10 suited. Oh, Jack 10 suited there. And he's going to get called here by Alan and by Randy.
You guys play anything but Hold'em?
So 3 ways.
Oh, yeah, we should definitely start it.
Queen 9-4 here with a couple spades. Well, Jesus, not a bad flop here, right?
Yeah, well, the problem with that flop, those 2 spades, now I'd like to see a heart out there. He is open-ended.
He pushes all in, and I think Randy's going to call him.
Yeah, you imagine this is going to happen. Jesus, who had $2,000, is down to his last 200, and he's all in with his last 200. And, Jesus is going to need an 8 or a king here.
Well, the turn is a 5. And here we go to the river.
In the custom homes on the left.
And the river's an ace, and Randy's going to win it there with the king queen.
Yeah. Take it down, Randy. And just like that, Jesus builds his stack up from 500 to 2,000, and now he's back down to 0, back down to felt. But he's going to reach in his pocket for more money.
Okay.
There you go. I thought he was going to take a shot and leave, but he's got more money in there. Got about 15 minutes left in tonight's show. Once again, you can catch Bart and I tomorrow night. We will both be here for Friday night, Double Fist Friday, 10:20 no limit action. Promises to be a really exciting night. You don't want to miss that.
Jesus
And
is back in for 400 more. We're getting word.
now you don't mind Jesus in there with $400 because he's just not scary. When Jesus has $2,000, that's when he becomes a little bit scary.
Ace King here for seat number 3.
And
Just a limp.
Just around, yeah.
Yeah. Rainey didn't raise it up there. Rainey's had kind of a good night out there.
Yeah, he's played it really close to the vest. Waiting for big hands here.
9-7-4 here, a rainbow.
Nice flop for Kevin there. He is open-ended.
And he checks it, Dave. 5-6 from up front.
Betting 40.
And we're going to have a $40 bet here by Jesus. He's got Jack.
Jack 9, you want to say?
Yeah. Is it Jack 10 or Jack?
Jack 10, actually. So if the 8 were to come, Kevin would hit his straight, but Jesus would hit his gut shot. Now, the 8 would be reverse implied odds. Kevin needs a 3 here, really.
Well, the turn is a 9.
Well, that's going to not chance. It changes nothing here.
Check, check.
And it checks around. Jesus is good here at Jack High, though, right now.
And the river is a 5. Well,
And
Kevin backs into a pair.
Yep.
They're just gonna check it down here.
They do. Well,
Betting 80.
Wow, and Kevin's gonna come out and bet on the 5.
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think maybe Jesus has got a 4 here? Is he going to try to get a value bet?
Maybe get him off of a 7.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Nice play there. Did you ever see 4-Year-Old Virgin?
I did.
I mean, I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. For like what it was, no one was expecting really much of it. It was a pretty fun.
Well, I mean, you go there expecting what you see. I mean, you're not going there to see an Oscar
but
movie.
I just, a lot of those kind of what I call like a low budget comedy movie. It's a studio movie, but it's kind of lowish budget, like under 10 or 15 million. I was never a big fan of like those stupid like Rob Schneider movies.
Oh, I hate it.
You know what I mean? Like stuff
I
like
think-
that.
There are some movies that I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
If the movie is done well, I think it's hilarious. That
Yeah.
one movie, I thought 40-Year-Old Virgin
Yeah.
was just, some of the parts in that were just so funny.
$60 raise here. I mean, I was kind of a fan of Chris Farley, but like Black Sheep, like, that. I mean,
Didn't
those
do it
types
for you?
of- Yeah. it's just-
No. What kind of movies do you like? I mean, do you like Thelma and Louise?
yeah. There you go. Right up my alley. Bridges of Madison County.
Yeah. Steel Magnolias?
Fried Green Tomatoes.
Yeah, those are some great movies, huh?
What was the movie with?
Sleepless in Seattle?
What was the movie with Barbara Streisand in like back in the early '90s?
The Mirror? Mirror Has Two Faces?
The Main Event. That wasn't exactly. Oh, well, that's one of them. But I was
That's
thinking
not the early 90s. That's like the 70s.
Yeah, that's
isn't
way.
it?
Yeah.
God. Evelyn clearly dating herself.
King Queen suited here for seat 5.
Ryan O'Neal, man. We're talking dating way back.
He wants to buy my fan. I'm not thinking about selling it for him.
Oh, I'm happy I've never seen Manuel Bell.
Jesus looks like he's got Queen Jack of Diamonds here,
I sold a Benz the other day.
and he limps in. But Mark is going to raise it up here to 20. King Queen suited.
No, he coming through. He coming his own pace.
And we're going to see this. Looks like 3 ways.
Yeah. Of course, Jesus is going to put the money in 3 ways. Pot $75. And here it is. Well, Ace, Jack, 4. A couple of hearts. Not a real good flop for anybody, but Jesus has the best hand here with Queen Jack.
Yeah.
And it checks to Mark, and Mark's going to bet it.
Betting 45.
See if he can represent the ace here. Now, Kevin is probably going to fold this. He's got 8-7. But Jesus is going to call here with a jack. Now, Mark needs to catch a king
Heads up.
or a 10.
Well, the turn's a 6. Check, check.
Neither player has a heart.
And the river's a 5. And it's just going to get checked down. Movie from the early 90s I was thinking about with Barbara Streisand.
Prince of Tides.
Prince of Tides. That's what
I
was
like
thinking
that.
about.
Actually, I got to tell you, we're making fun of a lot of movies. I actually like that movie. Prince of Tides. I thought that was a cool movie. Yeah, the main event, the one she was talking about, was 1979.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Straddle player.
Whatever happens, it's your fault.
That's how I like it.
That's but hey, it's better than she could have come out and said, yeah, that Barbra Streisand movie, Funny Girl, right?
Right.
Yeah. This time I like that.
I mean, do you like the slapstick? Do you like Airplane?
Yeah, kind of. A little bit. Now, that's more of I think, kind of a satirical thing. Now Alan's going to raise it up here with aces.
Now, watch how quickly Jennifer throws away ace queen. Watch how quickly she throws away ace queen to Alan's raise. Come on, Jennifer, don't make me look stupid. She's already made me look stupid by not quickly throwing it away. Ace queen out of the blinds. Okay, she finally does throw it away. Ace queen out of the blinds when Alan is raising. Remember, it's Alan raising in first position.
But Scott's going to get involved with Queen Jack suited, and Chris calls with calling Alan's raise on the button with King Jack off suit.
Unbelievable. Now, if this flop were to come out, say Jack blank blank, what's going to happen? Let's see.
Oh, well, Scott's got overcards and a flush draw here. Now, his overcards are not good, though.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that. And you imagine the money might go in here. Now, both players are fairly deep.
Alan's going to bet 125. And I think you have to realize that there's no fold equity to a check raise here if you're Scott. Now, I don't know how you continue on if you want to continue on, but I think I easily put Alan probably on an overpair here. Unless you think there's a chance he's got ace-king, and I guess you could check raise him, but...
Yeah, but the whole point of that hand is the fold equity, and he's just going to throw it away. He's not even going to get involved.
That's it?
Well, it's not like you mind the laydown, do you?
No, not at all. Against Alan, he probably should have laid it down pre-flop. Figured maybe I can get lucky and catch a monster.
6 and an 8 there offsuit, no help.
Now, supposedly there's a rumor, and I think it's more than a rumor, that Barbra Streisand did porn.
Really?
In, I believe, when she was trying to make it. And the
Kind of
funny
like
thing
the
is,
David Williams thing.
well, no, a little bit more than that. Funny thing is, though, I was growing up with a good buddy of mine, this kid Danny Haskin, so we went to high school together, but we were also friends when we were younger. And when we were younger, we were like 11, 12 years old. Danny, he found I was sleeping over his house one night, and he went into his mom's bedroom, and he found a little, porn video that I guess his parents used for, for their, fun. Anyway, took the porn while his parents were out. It was just me and him at his house. We were 11, 12 years old. We put the porn in, and I swear to God, not only did it look like Barbra Streisand, I think it was Barbra Streisand. I really do.
35. Raise, make it 35 total.
$35 raise here by Roger. He has played it so tight all night. Well, he's raising with ace-9 here. Now look at Alan's got king-queen. He's easily going to fold. I'm surprised Alan limped in under the gun with king-queen offsuit.
Yeah, well, in this game, if you can see the flop with sheep,
well, sometimes
who knows? Maybe I can get lucky against somebody here.
People are definitely playing hands that are dominated and will go. You could win big time with king-queen against king-jack on a king-high board.
Right, but what you're really looking for there is a king-queen deuce flop. Somebody gives you a lot of action with king-jack there, and you could double up off a guy like Jesus, say.
Now look at this. Roger, he raised it with ace-9. He's got top 2, 3 flush.
Yeah.
Bet 100.
I don't think anybody can call this.
Well, Scott's got jack-9. Wow, he's got a pair and the jack of clubs draw.
See, and we were talking about earlier. Remember when he laid down ace-jack of hearts, and I'd said, what happens if you get the jack of diamonds? You see here, he's got a pair with just a jack of clubs, and he's calling.
Well, now we got a club here. I was going to say, if this was a blank, what would Roger have done? Does he keep betting? He takes the card here. And the river's a queen.
And the problem here is, Scott's there's no value to this bet here.
Yeah, I don't understand this bet here at the river either.
You just got nobody. There's just no value to the play. You're calling hoping that your club is good if you hit your club. I just don't understand the play at all.
Now, again, Roger, he seems like a good enough player to realize that ace-9 doesn't matter if he's got ace-deuce here, ace-9, ace-king, ace-queen. Doesn't matter if he's got 3 aces. It's all just a bluff catcher, right?
Definitely. Yeah. This guy is betting the 10 of clubs, the jack of clubs, the queen of clubs, the king of clubs, or nothing at all.
Yeah.
He's got nothing. And you got to start thinking, what did he call me with?
Now, my question to you, though, too, in this game is, if you've got ace-9 there, and it's ace-4-9 with 3 clubs, you bet pretty big, and the guy calls you, and the turn is a blank. Do you fire again on the turn? People say, well, yeah, I want to charge him from the draw, or do you put him on some sort of flopped-made hand? In a bigger game, do you control pot size? You try to take a card. You run the risk of possibly a 4th club coming off. Do you think, I guess you might have to figure out the guy, is he a guy that would call me with just a dry club thinking that I'm going to pay him off?
It's twofold here because there's it's always interesting, obviously, by checking that turn. Yeah. If the guy, first of all, you're letting the card come off to beat you. But if the card doesn't come off, you might be inducing a bluff,
Right.
which is nice because you can get some money out of somebody where you normally
if you
wouldn't.
check the turn and the river's a blank, it's an easy call on the river. That was the intention of the play
Right.
with ace-9. I just don't know if you want to bet there. I guess you can bet and just fold to a check raise.
There's no real right answer.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways to play the hand.
9-7-3 here with a couple of spades.
I mean, if you want to risk it and take the chance, especially if you think it will induce a bluff on the river, hey, it's not a bad play. I'll tell you about an interesting hand I played with Mike Wu about a week ago right before I went to Vegas.
Scott's going to bet 45 here. He called with a gut shot on the flop, and now he's going to come out and bet here. He's hit top pair. Chris has just got overcards here.
Yeah, I don't think Chris is going to get involved here. I had an interesting hand with Mike Wu where I had limped in under the gun with pocket queens, okay? Actually, no. Somebody in early position raised, and I decided to smooth call on the pocket queens. It got called in a couple of spots, including Mike Wu, who's out of position in the blinds. Flop came out jack high with a couple of hearts, okay? And Mike put a $200 bet out there. I put a little mini raise in there and made it $450 to go. So I made it $250 more, okay? On the turn, came off a 10. So now it was jack 10, like deuce 4, okay? And I was worried that that might have made him two pair. When he checked to me, I decided to check behind, controlling pot size, but also aware that if, say, an ace had come off or a heart comes off, I'm going to throw this hand away, thinking maybe he made a straight or a flush. Turns out the river was the perfect card for me. It came out a deuce. So even if he had jack 10, I was now good. But I induced a bluff. Now, the pot was about, say, $900. He bet $600 into it. I immediately called, and he showed down his flush draw, his busted flush draw.
Yeah.
So I sort of kind of induced that bluff. But had the heart come off, I'm in a lot of trouble.
Now, this was in a 10-20 game?
This was a 10-20 game on Friday night, actually.
Ace-Jack going to bring this one in for a raise here out of seat 8.
And it's going to take it down. Now, against some players, obviously, against some players that aren't really capable of check raising the turn, and I really put them on a draw, I am going to charge them for their draw, like a player like Allen. But I thought Mike Wu, I thought he might sense weakness. I thought he might use that opportunity to check raise me. I was trying to keep the pot a little bit smaller against him, and I didn't want to get in trouble. So
Let's take a look at the final chip count of the night here.
wow, and look how the mighty have fallen. Jesus had $2,000 earlier. He lost all that $2,000. This is a new $400 that he's rebought.
Let's take a look at the differences.
Yeah, look at you. Wow.
All right, smart asses.
Wasn't Jennifer at 1,000 before?
No, she's at 1,000. She only had 400 though.
Oh, okay.
Randy, look at Chris's turnaround. Chris, gotta hand it to him. He was down $700 or $800 earlier. Now he's up $440.
So who's lost at the table, Dave?
Well, remember Mo deposited about $800 and then left.
Oh, yeah, he's freaking HSK. Vegas.
Yeah, I think we missed maybe one of Chris's
Well, there was
buy-ins
also
over there.
Scott. Remember our Ford dealer, who
Yeah.
also lost $500 really early as well. The future divorcee.
Got a raise here by Roger with pocket jacks. And Kevin is called here with 9-8 of spades.
Well, how about a set of jacks for Roger?
I got to tell you, I wouldn't slow play. I would just value bet these guys. This guy called. And look at this. Kevin's just going to throw a little bet out in here.
And I don't mind the play. I like the raise here. You got to hope Kevin is betting a king here. Why not build yourself a pot? You're deep, and so is Kevin. Build yourself a pot. He doesn't know Kevin's got nothing.
Yeah, it makes it 9. He's not going to scare him away. Look at this. Kevin's going to call. He doesn't have anything. He's got nothing.
I guess you're hoping to pick up a draw here.
Backdoor spade, backdoor straight draw.
What would be the best card here? How about like
10 of spades?
There you go.
Well, there's a 10 of clubs. Now he's open-ended.
10 of spades obviously being the best card in the deck. Make you open-ended with the flush draw.
Checks, and now Roger bets 100. And a quick call here again by Kevin.
Well, he's picked up a draw now, and if he were to catch a queen, now the queen, you'd get really no money out of, no, would you?
The river's a jack, and now Roger's made quads.
Wow, we've seen quads twice tonight.
And is Kevin going to try to bluff into 4 jacks? It looks like he is.
Well, he's going to try to represent the jack. Now, obviously, we always see there's a fine line between looking really smart in poker and not. How does he know that Roger's got jacks? You probably put Roger on ace king.
Well, look at the acting job over there by Roger.
What do I do?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, you know your opponent is bluffing here, right?
Well, would he ever just put a little? I mean, do you just put a min raise in there and hope he calls you with like like queen 10, something like that?
I move all in. I hope the guy's got a set. I hope he's moving all in with, you know what I mean? I hope he's got a set and I move all in. What am I going to do? If the guy's got a king, I think the pot's big enough, he's not going to go anywhere anyway.
Mike. 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 Raise in.
I'm going to raise. Kevin's going to fold. Okay. I mean, there's no way to finagle. The guy's only got $400.
$5 chip. You can tell me what high school Christmas 400 left.
He's like, how the hell am I supposed to put that on? All in. He's got a memory of
And how long is Kevin going to take to fold 9-eye here? Look at his face. I just took the wrong time to make that bluff.
I mean, yeah,
I don't really know why he called the flop.
Well, you got to start looking at it. Is it a terrible play? Let me ask you something. Let's say the guy had ace king or king queen. It does put him in a tough spot if you think this guy's calling you the whole day down with a jack. You know, because we've seen that happen oftentimes.
Now, that is one thing I would not do with the chips here at the bike. I would not put my head on the chips.
No.
Yeah, you know, they claim that they wash the chips, but I'm not.
Well, they do. They last time they washed it was during Barbra Streisand's The Main Event.
Oh, yes. This is going to be the last hand of the night. What a wise ass you are, huh?
I've actually gotten through the entire night without really offending anybody, I think.
Join us tomorrow for 10:20 No Limit Hold'em.
I'll do my best to offend more tomorrow night. Don't worry. I'm going to come up with good material for tomorrow.
She took all my money. She deserved that one.
Funny if I went through all this and I'm like, hey, Matt, how do you know that? And you've been like, yeah, because you went down from here.
No big hands out there. Keeping track of them out there. Wow, I'm getting a shot of your shirt that you wore last night. I gotta tell you, you do look good in that shirt.
Yeah. Look at this shot. This is when Liz was out of the booth and she left him stroking the rose. What could have been.
Wow.
We're not going to see a flop here, so I believe we're going to take it down.
Looks
like somebody on the inside here posted up the pics on the 2+2 forum, live at the Bike Fan. I don't know who that is, but...
That's good. There you go. So apparently you were, when she went off on a walk, you were stroking a rose.
Yep.
Oh, really?
That must have been a sight.
Yeah, I know all those guys. I still talk to Quincy every now and then.
So we got the last hand of the night here, buttons in seat 5.
Well, it looks like you guys had a good time.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what he said.
Maybe someone can use that as my avatar. I don't know how I get that avatar. Put that picture up on my avatar.
You don't want to miss us tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we've got 10:20, No Limit Hold'em, big game, probably over 30,000 on the table. Double fist night.
Funny thing that people don't know is she was actually wearing like a short skirt like at dinner, but it was cut too high and she changed right before the show.
That's a shame.
So like orange. Alan's gonna raise it up here with ace queen.
I don't think anybody's gonna call this one either. Well, what do I know? Here Kevin calls. Kevin's gonna call with a dominated king 9. And I don't think Jennifer's gonna toss in her money now. She doesn't with king jack. And we're gonna see this heads up here. Ace queen versus king 9. Pot is about $70 to the flop. There's the ace. Yep.
Kevin is out of position, but we've seen him call with less, Dave. He has nothing on the flop.
And he's got, well, in this case, he's got nothing and no draw. I mean, he's got no hope of anything. Check bet. You got to imagine Kevin's going to throw this away.
Yep. And there it is. It's over. We will be back tomorrow. And had a lot of fun, Dave.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
We're going to be here again tomorrow together, and then I'm heading off to Vegas on Saturday. So for Dave Tuckman and Bart Hansen, look for us for the video blog tomorrow. Good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the Bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.